Hey guys, so this is Bruce, and I'm gonna patch you into Rob real quick. I got Rob on scene at LA for the riot or the protests that are going on. Rob, can you hear me?
Yep, put me on.
All right, there you go, Rob. You're on.
All right, so here we are. I'm in the corner of Broadway and Temple, and there's a big police presence. There's not a big people presence yet, but you can see lined up nice and orderly. Probably not a fun night for them. I don't know if anyone's gonna. Hey, how you doing? We're doing a live stream for our show. We're doing a live stream for our show. Where are most of the protesters now?
Way down there.
Way down there. Are they coming this way?
No.
No, you guys are just keeping people from getting in.
Yeah.
What's that? How many were there?
Hundreds.
How can they all be in jail?
See the buses over there?
Yeah.
That's where they're putting them in.
Are you serious? Or are you just saying that?
Serious.
Were they rioting or just protesting?
Riding.
So like it was like in Atlanta, Minneapolis. Yeah. They were looting? You know, it's crazy. We just did a show on this. I used to do a show on Fox News, and we just did a show on this today, a live stream. And we were talking about why people like loot. Like, why you go in and loot? You know, like, what sense does it make? But at the same time, understanding why people are upset with, you know, the stuff that's going on in that thing, you know? Do you guys have feelings? You can't talk about it. What's that? Just here right now? Inside you got feelings. Yeah. Does it frustrate you? Okay. I'm not trying to get you to say something bad. I'm just trying to understand. I think people look at you guys like the enemy. You know, and I don't think they should. I'm just saying I think that's what happens. You know? All right. Well, thank you guys. So, you know, just had a quick conversation. You can see kind of a line of police officers lined up here. And I don't know how much of that conversation people could pick up. The officer I was talking to was going, oh, got to go this way? Yeah, okay. See, they came in with a club. They're going to whack me next. So we're pretty far away from the protesters, I think. So we might not get much action. Because they're saying they basically rounded up all the protesters already. And the looters and put them all in jail. Which is kind of surprising, if you think about it. But maybe that is what happened. So I'll say this. You can feel the tension. I mean, the cops are polite about it, but the minute I tried to like move toward the street, they're like, boom, cutting you off. So I'm going to go walk back up again and go in there. Take my mask off for a second here. You know, it's a really interesting time right now because you feel this tension between police and protesters. And I was thinking about it. If you're a person, you know, anybody can understand the sort of the rage that builds up in people around the kind of violence that's been going on, and white cop on black person violence triggers people, and it triggers a lot of people in inner cities and minority communities. But then people go, well, why are they looting? Why are they rioting? And I think what happens is it's like we just got this rage that explodes. Like people have just, you know, they've been locked up in the pandemic. There's a long history around the racial injustice that triggers people, and they just lash out. You mix in like Antifa like triggers who come in and are paid to stir things up, and then people do stupid things like, oh, I'm going to go rob a store. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just they're like lashing out. It's just like I'm lashing out at the people in power. And I think a lot of it's as much about economic inequality as it is about racial inequality. People feel frustrated. They're like, hey, you know, I want my piece. And it's kind of stupid. It's breaking out across the country. But what's not stupid is the frustration and the rage that people feel, and the fact that we haven't found a solution, that we're still such a divided country around this right now. Whether it's race, economic inequality, whether it's justifiably people unhappy and frustrated at what they see. And it's not all police officers by any means, but it doesn't matter. People feel like, hey, it's one more. But at the same time, then people go and riot in their own communities. They loot in their own communities. That doesn't make sense either. You know, and I see these guys here, and they are trying to do their job. And I'm not picking a side, but these guys aren't trying to start trouble. They're trying to keep trouble from happening. And probably you guys, right? It's not fun right now to be a cop in a lot of ways, is it? Is it a tough time? It's a tough time because you guys are in a tough thing. This guy's Officer Peralta. He's like, it's a tough time. And I think my viewers sort of see that, right? Say hello. See this guy? He's trying to do his job. But at the same time, I think these guys probably do have sympathy for the frustration people feel. I don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't understand why people feel fed up, you know? But I think people want peace and calm at the same time. Thanks, Officer Peralta.
Have to agree.
You're very polite. I'm not going to get whacked yet. But I got to say, you know, I guess I'm trying to say I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Their job's to enforce order. And maybe they get frustrated. And bad cops are out there. But at the same time, I understand the frustration people feel. People feel frustrated. Citizens feel frustrated because they're tired of feeling like the system's beating them down. And if you're a black person, you do wander around feeling like I'm next. I'm going to get beaten down. I'm going to get arrested. 3 guys with their knees on you while you're choking to death doesn't happen to most white people, especially who haven't committed a violent crime. It just doesn't. It happens to black people. That's a reality. That's a reality, and the cops rarely go to jail for it. They rarely get charged for it. They're getting charged in Minneapolis, but that's unusual. They don't normally get charged. DAs work with cops. They tend to not charge them. And when they do get charged, they usually don't get convicted. So I get where people's frustration comes from. People are fed up. They're tired. But then they go to the extreme and they riot and they loot. So you've got rioting in Minnesota. You've got in Minneapolis. You've got looting going on. You've got people in Atlanta looting, breaking into stores. It's like a mass stealing event. And here you have in LA, people, you know, they call them looters. The cops said to me, they're looters, and we've thrown them all in jail, hundreds of them. They're like trying to stop it. So does it work? Does it not work?
Rob, we're getting some
questions.
Yes, yeah. So Rob, we're getting some questions coming in. I'm gonna read them out to you out loud. All right.
Okay.
All right. So Andrew Neal asks, has there been reported violence or looting in Los Angeles?
Okay, Andrew, let me find out. Pretty soon these cops are going to arrest me if I go back to them again. Has there been violence connected with the looting? Is that what they're asking?
It's just been reported violence or looting in LA.
Has there been violence or looting?
Yep.
Yeah, there's been both. As I understand it from these police officers, there's been a combination of both. I'll double check. Hey, we've got a lot of listeners watching. They want to know, has there been violence or just looting?
There's been a lot of violence, sir.
Been a lot of violence in LA?
Yes.
What were people doing?
Shooting guns at cops.
They were shooting guns.
Yes.
Holy crap.
Tonight. And did you guys shoot back? You don't know. Did anybody get injured?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Was there looting? How many people do you think have been arrested?
I have no idea.
No idea? No. And are you guys allowed to have personal feelings on this? You have them, but are you allowed to share them? I mean, you're Latino, right? You're a Latino guy, so you have technically a person of color. You're not a black person, but like, do you like within the force, do white, black, Latino, does you kind of all like we're cops first? We're Americans. I like that. Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you. And maybe more people need to see it that way, right? We were talking tonight on the show about unity. Like, people need to see that we can be unified and common ground. We're all Americans when it comes to the bottom line. It doesn't mean we don't have differences. Doesn't mean we don't have divides. Doesn't mean we don't have inequalities. But we're all Americans, and we're not acting like it. We're acting like we're a bunch of tribes at war. Not all Americans.
All right, I got another question coming in.
Okay, Bruce, go for it.
Yeah. All right, so we have, hey, is it true that the White House just had a coup? I don't know. I'll look it up. That sounds kind of far-fetched.
No, the White House did not have a coup. The White House had a lockdown.
All right, we have one
from the area around the White House for a while, and they locked it down because there was too many stuff going on. What's fascinating about this, Bruce, and everybody watching, is we're seeing an explosion around the country. This all started with one guy who got unjustly, I think most people see it was an unjust act committed on him and it killed him. But this is so much deeper. This is so much more. This is not about one person. This is about years and years and years of built up rage. And like I said, I think it's also economic rage. It's inequality, it's frustration, it's anger, and it's the fact that we all live in our tribal camps. So one tribe feels offended and it's like we're all going out together. And then you got people, you know, it's like white people, black people, Latino people, everybody's in this together. It's not just like it's all black people protesting. It's all different colors out there. And then you got people trying to stir it up. But at the end of the day, it's like people are looking for a way to get violent. They're looking for a way to lash out. You know, we're in the middle of a pandemic where no one's supposed to be out on the streets. And you got people, here we got a lot of sirens. You got people literally like protesting and fighting. The cop told me they were shooting at cops in LA. Here we go. We got a couple cars coming by. There's a lot of police presence out here. The entire block I was just on just moved. They just moved all those cops away. And they're racing up the streets. And the entire thing that was blocked off is gone now. I was by a cordon of police officers. They're all gone. They've all just moved down. So I'm going to move down with them. Still can't go down? Okay. Didn't know there was no one here. Get yelled at. Don't go too close.
Rob, real quick, people are asking, where are you at?
It's a good point. I'm at the corner of Spring Street and Temple. So I'm basically about a block from City Hall.
That's where I heard that's where I heard the epicenter was earlier today.
Yeah, it was a little farther down, but I'm basically right next to City Hall.
We have questions.
Let me show you. This is City Hall right here behind me. See that?
Okay. Yeah.
That's City Hall.
Looks pretty at night.
It's beautiful at night. That's where the cops were all surrounding. And you hear what happened when I tried to walk up the street and across the street and they yelled, "Get back." You know?
Yeah.
And there's really like a massive police presence here. I mean, literally, I passed about 100 plus cop cars. And they said the cops told me they arrested, like tons of people. And the last cop told me they were shooting at the cops. People were actually shooting like guns at the cops.
Yeah.
So it's turned beyond just looting. We're talking down all out violence. And again, this is a tricky one because I understand where the anger comes from when these things happen, but goes past that. This is no longer just anger at, an action that happened in Minneapolis. And it's not just anger, in my opinion, at white cop on black person violence. It's a deep-seated rage and anger and a discontent, and people are lashing out. And I'm not justifying that, but they are lashing out. It's like they're just like somebody will say, well, they just want an excuse to riot. Well, maybe they just want an excuse to vent all that anger. But it's just lashing out. And then the looting is just pure stupidity. Like, that's not lashing out at anybody. Are you lashing out at Target? You're going in and ripping off Target. Like, a bunch of people go in their own communities and steal shit. That doesn't make sense. Why are people doing that? We're in such a confused time.
Speaking of looting, and I'll wait for that siren real quick.
Yeah.
I have people asking, is there a fire in downtown that you can see anywhere?
No. Although, that was a fire truck that just went by.
All right.
So it's possible but there's not a fire that I can see. What I can see is, if you look way down the street behind me, let me see if I can try to show you.
Yep.
About like 5 blocks, you see all the pink and purple and blue lights, right?
Right.
It's about 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks down.
Hold on.
I can't walk down there because every time I try to move down this street, there's a lot of cops in the middle.
Yeah, we can get that shot. In that shot, we could see all the line of police.
Yeah. So there was a whole row here. This is where I was walking right here, and you saw them out here. They've all moved back to the middle there, and just a few here. But they won't let me. Like I said, 3 times I've tried to go down that street, and like basically one guy lifted his club, the other 2 guys just yelled from across the street like they were like, "Get back." So they don't want people moving that way. And they sort of sealed off the whole middle area around City Hall. And I think they don't want anybody in front of City Hall.
Got it.
It's maybe they're protecting the building. I don't know. Where's the mayor? Where's the mayor in all this? I do think it's fair to say that our leaders bear responsibility in this too, And you could see, Bruce and everybody watching, you could see in the faces of the cops, like a couple of them did talk to me, right? You could see like they have feelings about this. And I'm sure they're divided. I'm sure part of their feelings are we're cops and we are tired of having people target us. And some of them are probably going for people of color. We're frustrated at the situation too. Like we're tired of having, we're tired of the bad cops.
Yeah.
It's got to be weird to be a cop in all this right now, But I think first and foremost, cops become cops. Like it's their tribe.
Yeah.
See
if you can ask them
down the street.
All right, see if you can ask them some more as they come by. In the meantime, let me put up some comments.
These guys don't look like they're going to be talkative, but I will try. They're carrying they look like they're on a mission.
Okay. I got people saying
I can get, but they're coming with they got guns and ropes and. Where are you guys off to? Which way? Yeah, see, they won't even answer.
Yeah.
Are you guys like a special patrol with the ropes and stuff? We're doing a live stream show for Fox. Yeah, don't care.
All right, I got people saying that they notice also what they're agreeing with you about being stressed and quarantined for months, and we're all pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big part of it, right? I think you've had people locked down. We opened for Memorial Day and people flooded the beaches and we're like, I'm going to jam into the bars. We're like, forget social distancing. We're drinking, we're kissing, we're sunbathing. Well, you know, a lot of the things, these are erupting in a lot of inner city neighborhoods or downtown neighborhoods. And I think this is something we got a whole nother slew of cars coming up here. Looks like it's just one really loud one. Is that people feel like you forget about, like, if you live in the suburbs or you live in a country or you live in a nicer area, it's different. Imagine being locked up in a city, in a small apartment, in a small crowded apartment complexes that aren't very well off at all. Imagine being jammed in that, you know, in any downtown urban area in America. Like, if you're not in the wealthy part of it, you're jammed up in there. You've been jammed up with nowhere to go. They close parks, they close bikeways, they close beaches. You know, you're stuck with your family and you're no social contact. People are like mentally like, let me out. So when they went to the beaches for Memorial Day, and now they're just going to go and riot and loot. Beaches at Memorial Day would be better.
Crazy. Rob, I got
want
some
to
more.
find out how many people were really arrested. That one cop said we arrested them all. They can't have arrested everybody, but man, I'm literally looking at 100 cops right here, just in this block with me. I don't know if you can see down there, Bruce.
Yeah, we can
there's
see
about
it.
100 cops right in here. You know, a solid, and that's just on one tiny corner. And then they're blocked down at the other end too, and they've sealed the middle off so nobody can get in the middle. I don't know why they're sealing the middle off, other than, like I said, right behind me, that's City Hall. So they're sealing that off. And then this up here, you see, is just a whole row of cop cars all the way up this street, up Temple, and then there's a whole row of cop cars going down the other street. Well, I feel like a news reporter here. It almost looks like they're starting to go home, though. I'm going to ask if maybe this is winding down, you know?
Okay.
Because maybe it is, and then we'll wind down if it is. But I'll try one more time again.
I got people asking
guys,
if you can.
We're doing a live stream for our show. Is this winding down? I know some of you guys have talked. It's winding down. We're a lot. I know it's frustrating to be a cop right now. I'm sure, right? There are a lot of arrests. You know.
Looks like there's a good amount.
Okay, but it's basically winding down. That's what it looks like. Okay, thanks for sharing that.
That was awesome.
Little bits of information. Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, that was awesome.
All right,
questions, real quick. Yeah. I have people asking, can you hear chanting of resistance by any chance?
No.
Okay.
No. But whatever's going on in depth was a number of blocks down, and the cops are dispersing, so it seems like it's ending. You know?
Got it.
I can try one more time and see if they're still going on. But it sounds like they were saying it's winding down. And I've just seen about 30 cops already start heading back. And, you know, partly you can tell they're walking like it's over. You know? Their shoulders aren't tense. They're not up. They're like, shoulders are dropped. They're relaxed. They're strolling like we're coming home from work. Which makes me think, you know, they've been told, okay, you know, we're through it. I get the feeling, Bruce, and everybody watching, we're right on the spot, guys. We are, I mean, seriously, you know, we got pretty close to this whole thing in the middle of it. You know, firsthand information might be inaccurate depending, but from the cops, it sounds like they arrested a whole lot of people. 2 different cop sources said to me, you know, we made a ton of arrests.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to address some people on Periscope. So Binky says, thanks for scoping during the crazy time. This is wild. You're very welcome. As soon as I saw what was going on, I had to call Rob. I was like, Rob, you got to head to downtown.
Yeah, exactly, Bruce. Way to be on it. You know, I was wishing I was in Minneapolis tonight so I could have been covering that, you know. But here it is in our hometown. And it's funny because obviously, you know, it's burst all over the country. So, and again, I'm going to say it again. It's not just because of what happened to George Floyd in Minneapolis. And I am not making excuses for what those cops did. You know, I'm the first guy, and I went to law school, and I know you're innocent until proven guilty. But I'm the first guy that was like, I don't care. I don't care if you think the jury's going to get tainted by the media. I don't know how any jury could see what happened in that and not think you're responsible. People say, well, you don't know what happened before. It doesn't matter what happened before. I don't care if the guy spit in your face. He's on the ground handcuffed. He's on the ground handcuffed for 5 minutes with 4 cops on top of him. Like, he ain't going anywhere. He isn't resisting. You can hear it in his voice. He's saying, Mama, please, you guys, please don't kill me. Like, he ain't fighting. He doesn't have a gun. He never had a gun. He didn't commit a violent crime. No excuse for that. But this is more than that. This is a backlash, a lashing out that goes beyond that. It's not just that. And it's also not just a bunch of senseless people who are like, oh, I don't care. I'm just going to. It's the same thing I said about the beachgoers. People are like, oh, it's a bunch of selfish idiots. It's not just a bunch of selfish idiots here either. It's a lot of really angry people, and that should scare us. The level of anger should scare us, you know? But over here, you'll see the cops are eating pizza. So I'm going to try to get close
That's
to
a
them.
good.
They're having pizza. And
Yeah,
when you're having pizza, you know the party's over.
I was just gonna say that they're gonna have a good time and relax now.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and ask them if it's wrapped up. You know, we'll see. Put back on. Hey guys, I used to do a show on Fox, and we do a live stream now. So can you guys tell me, is it pretty much coming to an end now? Is it wrapped up? Well, you're eating pizza, so it's got to be, right? When you have pizza, it's like time to party. The game, it's over.
All the good stuff's down there, man.
But they said it's kind of ended down there, right?
We've just been here all day.
Oh, all day. But there were like what, 100 arrests?
No idea.
No idea. You guys are sheriff. Those were LAPD. So I was talking to them over there. So they never made it up here. And how far down is it? Like 3 blocks?
It's 6th Street.
6th Street. But wasn't some of it at City Hall at one point?
Not when we
No?
were here.
Okay, got it. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Oh, quick last question for you guys. Do you feel any difference between being sheriffs and being, and by the way, I ride horses, and the family I ride with, he's a sheriff. He was at Burbank. He's a young guy. He's 28. Do you feel different between like PD, local PD and sheriffs? Is it kind of, do you feel like you experience it differently? Because most of the stuff that triggers this stuff is like city cops and city situations, or is it all the same? Like one brotherhood, sisterhood? You're smiling.
The question is very convoluted.
I'm saying, like, as cops, is it all? Do you, as sheriffs, do you feel the same experience that, say, cops who work in a city feel? Your own experience. Do you feel this is a hard time to be a cop? Yeah. Like, do you feel like people don't give you a fair shot? Not over yet. What's that? I want to. They wouldn't let me walk down the street. I will. That's a lot of cop cars. Now we're up to about 40 of them. They ain't stopping. This is like major. Wow, it's like 50. 40 cars, 45. All right, I feel like it's entire police forces out here. Look at that. That is a line down there. All right, we're going to walk down after that.
Yep.
Well, we'll see what's happening here.
So just to answer Binky, you could tell this isn't pre-recorded. This is all happening like I'm over here in like HQ Central and I'm sending Rob out. This is not pre-recorded at all.
What?
I had there was a guy named Binky who was asking if this was pre-recorded, and I'm like, no, not at all.
No,
as he's asking, yeah.
I'm going to walk down a block and see what's going on there. Hey, so thank you guys, but I meant it was a serious question. It's a tough time to be a cop, right? Right? And some of my viewers are real sympathetic on both sides, you know? And so I'm just saying, like, I want you guys to have a perspective on this too, because I think there's a lot of cop hating going on, and some cops are bad cops, but that's true in any business. And I'm sure you guys probably masking, but you probably feel a lot of times like, hey, we're just doing our job trying to keep people safe. Is that a fair assessment? Yeah? Don't want to say. You guys aren't supposed to talk. Is that why? Because I know you go to a bar and you're going to talk about it. Yeah, we're living in a tough time. Perfectly put. Everybody is. I like that. Thank you, sir. We're living in a tough time right now. Everybody is. Look, I get it. It's hard to get these guys to talk. You guys can see their faces. They're like nodding, but you can see it in their eyes, right? It's a talk show. So I'm going to look in people's eyes. You can see them going. You can see them thinking, like, I got an answer for this question. I ain't giving it. Like, I want to say it. So he finally says it's a tough time, you know? Like, they're obviously frustrated. I don't think they're going to let me walk by this. They told me to walk down here, but I think I'm going to get stopped right here is my guess. I think we're at the end of the road. But the other sheriff said go down. See, in their City Hall. Well, I don't think it ever was at City Hall, Bruce. I think that was a myth. Hey, you guys, was there ever any activity with protesters up at City Hall tonight? No idea. But you guys were, they said you guys have been here for a while.
We haven't been here that
Oh, these guys up here were the sheriffs. You have no idea. Can I walk through here? Or is this blocked? I can't. I didn't know they wouldn't let me go down the temple before. Okay, thank you guys. Can I ask you a question? You're allowed to answer. We're doing a stream show for Fox Can't Talk. Okay. Well, we got the other
Tell
guys
him.
to talk. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Rob, thank him anyways.
All right, Bruce. I'm gonna make a last loop. I think Look again. I don't know. That was about 60 cars, right?
Yeah, that was a bit.
Screaming down there. I've never seen that many cop cars. But in where I am in front of City Hall, they are clearing it out. There were a good 40, 50 cop cars lined up on these streets, and they are all heading home. And you saw the guys eating pizza and laughing like they're done. They're done with their job. They're done. They've been told go home. So you don't send 100 cops home if you're about to have more violence and riots. They obviously feel they've contained it enough
Yeah.
to move on.
Yeah, at least we could thank God it didn't get any worse. I got some more comments coming in.
Yeah, let's get 'em.
Yeah, so we have Andrew Neal saying, after dealing with the coronavirus myself, I wish people would take this more seriously.
Wishes people would take more seriously the social distancing?
Maybe, or he's referring to the riots and the protests themselves.
Well, obviously, people aren't worried about the coronavirus if they're out protesting. Interestingly enough, y'all notice not a single cop's wearing a mask. Did you notice that? How many
Oh,
cops
yeah.
did you see me talk to? I went by about 25 on the street with the riot gear on. They didn't have masks, they had shields. Those shields don't keep spit from getting in your face. They keep shit from hitting in your eyes, right? All these cops I've been talking to, none of them are wearing masks. I've seen 100+ cops, not a single mask on them, which is kind of interesting, right? And I don't mean like they're trying to break the law. Maybe they feel better being able to talk or with them off, but they're all around each other. 100 people all around each other, and they all go home to their families tonight. So if we're worried about not wearing masks and social distancing, these cops aren't social distancing from the rioters, from the protesters, from the looters, and from each other. And again, they're all hanging out with each other. They're not quarantined. They're all going home, and they're all going out to their families, and those people are going out. So again, it's an interesting thing around this mask thing because not a single cop had a mask on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. All right, I got another question coming in. What street are you on? It's going to be the streets around City Hall. Troy Turner, thank you for tuning in from YouTube.
What street am I on?
Yeah, I just let him know you're around
I'm on
City
Broadway.
Hall.
I'm on Broadway, and that's City Hall right there over there on Temple across. So you can see I'm one block over. I was just over there before, but they wouldn't let me walk down. And you can see, I don't know if you can see in the distance there, everybody. Across the street in front of City Hall, that there's a whole line of cars still lined down that are cop cars. I literally have seen about 200 cop cars in the last half hour. And here's another. See all that? Every's a cop car. See 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here they come. All cop cars, one after the other.
Yeah.
They're all heading down there. But I don't know if they're going to try to stop stuff or if they're basically going like a parade home, because all the cops up here are dispersing and like chilling. So they've been clearly told we're done up here. You can head out. So I'm going to see if someone can tell me why they keep flooding hundreds of cop cars down that direction. And there's still helicopters over it, so it can't be done yet. But I got to find someone who will tell me.
Yeah, real quick.
You have more
Rob,
questions?
Yeah, real quick from Andrew. He says he's referring to the cop. The fact that the cop had 18 previous complaints says ignorance.
Say that again, Bruce.
Sure. So Andrew Neal is saying the fact that the cop had 18 previous complaints says ignorance.
Yeah, listen. Andrew, if you're saying that cop has no excuse, that cop has no excuse. And police forces look the other way on this way too often. But you got to remember, within a police force in any urban area, there are a lot of cops of color. I don't know if you saw when I was walking. I didn't actually in LA didn't see a lot of black cops in the group, the area where I was walking, but a lot of Latino cops, definitely Asian cops. Not all white cops. LA's got a lot more, has a big Latino population. But you've got cops of color in every major police force, right? So clearly, this is an issue about police authority as much as race. A lot of cops feel like they can do whatever they want, like they're just in charge, and they don't. You give them attitude. You saw, guys, if when I first tried to walk down that street the second time, the guy stepped out with his club a little bit. It's like, what? I'm going to cause trouble here. I got a phone in my hand. I'm like, not. There's a certain amount of it that I think is just power and abuse of power that gets ignored by the authorities. So this guy with all his repeated complaints, and they weren't all race complaints, but they were like, out of line type complaints of excessive force or whatever it is. That stuff is like, that gets tolerated, as does all the cops who get, as I said earlier, get charged. They don't get charged that often with stuff. And when they do get charged, and again, they don't get charged that often because DAs, if you think about it, the district attorneys work with the cops all the time because they're bringing cases. So they have close relationships. And when they do get charged, they usually don't get convicted. So, they probably think about like, hey, I can just do whatever I want. No one's going to stop me. Nobody's going to stop me. Because I was thinking, how dumb is this cop? These 4 cops in Minneapolis. You don't think people are going to video you? You don't think people are going to see you doing this? In the day age we live in, you don't think this is going to be on CNN? And yet people don't. It's kind of nuts. Like, seriously, think about it. It's like anything you would do. Would you, it's sort of like, hey, I'm going to go out and do this in an area that gets a lot of attention and with a lot of people around. I'm going to do something really horrible and hope nobody, sees about it. Hope nobody, I'm going to go cheat on my wife and hope nobody takes a picture. I'm doing it in public and hope nobody takes a picture. Well, that would be kind of dumb. But this is worse. This is like, I'm a cop. I'm wearing a uniform. I'm going to go arrest someone in public with people around with phones. I'm going to kneel on their neck for 4 minutes, and I'm going to hope that nobody videos it. Now, I'm sure you didn't think the guy was going to die, but still, what are you thinking that you think you can get away with that you think it's not going to show up in the news? So that's how indifferent these cops must have felt, that they could get away with anything.
Or to think that there's not going to be any ramifications.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that you think nobody's going to notice and it's going to go away. That's how indifferent and how much power they must feel they have. Even if the guy doesn't die, but if he does, but I can do this and nobody's going to stop me. And yet you literally are in a public place and people are videoing you and people are watching you. And to me, that's the shocking part, the sense of entitlement that these cops had to feel that. Now, I'm not saying that about these cops here in LA. I have my own issues at times with cops in LA, but I'm saying in general around police officers and that sense of like, I can do what I want, I'm in charge, And that's the dangerous and scary part. And a lot of this is a reaction to authority. And I think a lot of it is a reaction to a long systemic sense of economic and to some extent and racial inequality, but a lot of economic inequality and a lot of pent-up angry people in a country that's very divided, because we are divided right now. And there are cop haters everywhere. Why would you hate all cops? I have issues with authority, and I've had my weird run-ins with cops, trust me. But why would you hate all cops? I mean, I have friends who are cops. Why would you hate all cops? A lot of them are out there trying to protect you. But we have people that hate cops. You shouldn't even be nice to a cop. A friend of mine told me today that somebody went after him on a post he was doing because he said he was a racist for actually thinking like the cops could be good, basically. Like, it's kind of nuts. And then we have the other side, which is very pro law and order, who feels like, hey, cops can do no wrong. And, all these protesters are wrong. And again, I'm not defending the looting, but I think you got to understand there's deep reasons for a lot of this stuff.
Rob, I got some more comments coming in. I'm going to shotgun them to you, okay?
Yep.
All right. So Surflick from Periscope says they're about to do some mass arrests. I heard on the scanner right now.
Yeah, and they already did a bunch of mass arrests, and I think the reason we saw those 60 cars streaming down there was for the very reason,
Yep.
That they were getting ready to arrest people. I think that's what we were looking at.
Let's see, moving on down, I have people saying that there's something going down on 6th and Broadway right now.
Well, I'm not far from there, so let's see if I can get there before I run out of power.
Got it. I got 3 people who just said that. So thank you, Juan from YouTube. Thank you, J Delius87 from YouTube. I'm going to keep going down while you're running.
Yeah, I'm running, folks.
Yep.
I don't know why I put the stupid mask on. I put the mask on when I go by people. Like, I'm like a freak that way. I don't know. It's kooky. I'm not even scared of this disease, but I just have it. It's like, put my mask on.
Keep the mask on, Rob. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to win brownie points with a lot of people with that on anyways.
But I
Okay.
think I'm still a long way from 6th Street, guys. I don't
All
know
right.
how I get there before I run out of power, but I'll keep heading.
Take your time.
Trying.
Yep, thank you. David A. asks, how crazy did it get in LA? It's hard to get a stream. I guess streams are being taken down. We didn't know that, but thanks, David. We're streaming to like 8 different destinations right now.
Yeah, look, and let people share this. Ask people, Bruce, to share it. Put this out. Share our feed.
I'll put it on the bottom, guys. Give me just a sec. Let's see where else. Javier V saying that they arrested 100 people on 6th Street. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, they arrested a lot of people already. And I told you, the first cops I talked to said there were, one guy said about 100 people, I think, were already arrested. They were doing mass arrests. And that stream of like 60 cop cars, I think that's what that was about. They were heading down to arrest them. They're bringing in force. All right.
Got it.
We're moving.
Yep. Thank you, Rob.
3rd Street.
Okay, so I have Cali Plug. So how was the LA riots? Was it big or not enough for social media?
Say that again?
Yeah, so how about the LA riots? Was as big or not enough for social media?
Tonight? It's asking about tonight?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really think they were riots, and I could be wrong. But, I guess that's not fair to say. I guess if you're shooting at cops, it's a riot. So, the cops we talked to said they were shooting at us.
Right.
So, again, we're firsthand. Doesn't mean it's 100% accurate. But, I would think that's big enough for social media.
Yeah, and it's weird that you don't really see it being talked about a lot on television, but yet when you flip on Facebook or you flip on Periscope or YouTube, you actually see it on live, and that's crazy. Why is it not on television?
Yeah, well, I don't know. That is a great question. Why are you not putting this on television? Because we're doing it.
And you know what? Yeah, we'll thank the news networks for not putting it on TV so we can take advantage of it.
Yeah, listen. And I've been bummed that I can't go to the gym, and this is great because I'm getting my run in. I'm almost there. Now it's going to be whether I run out of power, but we're going to get close. We're getting close, guys.
Keep it up, Rob. All right, I got another question. I
can answer on the run.
All right, so you got it. I have John Jersey Maldonado asking, did someone die in Los Angeles?
Don't know the answer to that.
All right.
It is possible. I asked the cop, did anybody die? He said, I don't know.
I have someone, Cali Plug. Thank you for joining in from Periscope. So Cali Plug asks, yeah, man, look up the names of these people behind mainstream media networks.
What's that?
So Cali Plug says, yeah, man, I should look up the name of these people behind the mainstream media networks.
Say that one more time, Bruce.
Yep. We should look up the names of the people behind the mainstream media networks.
Right. Well, we know who they are. That way? Is 6th Street where they're arresting everybody? We're doing a live stream. I used to do a show on Fox. We have a big audience watching, and there's not a lot of clarity on what's happening. So I was up by City Hall talking to a lot of the cops up there. They've all left now. But someone said there were just about 100 arrests just now down here. Is that accurate?
It just happened, but not right now.
But there were a lot of arrests. And they were arrested earlier. And one of the officers said to me that people were shooting at you guys.
There was something fired.
And did someone get killed? No one got killed. But people were asking that. People are getting crazy bits of information. Right? Thank you, officer. Was it Cardenas? I've asked a lot of people. This has the sheriff starts coming down. It's got to be a tough time to be a police officer, right? As an individual, are you Latino? Do you have mixed feelings around it? Like, in part of you can understand where rage comes from, but can't understand why people are looting and rioting in the streets with police officers? But you have them, right? You have them. She's human, right? First, one of the guys said to me, it's a tough time. Let's put it that way for everyone. Thank you very much. So I'm not going to get any closer, am I? This is it. All right, I'm just going to let them see. But either way, I'm not getting closer to that. All right, well, you guys can take a look. We ran a long way, didn't we?
Yep.
And again, you're not sure how many people they arrested, but it's like at least 100 probably, right? Yeah, roughly 100. So that's, who's ever hearing that might be getting it right. Well, I'm going to ask you one question. It's not about that. I have my mask and I keep pulling it on and off. Why are no police officers wearing masks? You guys not like them? Tactical. Got it. So you can't wear one. Oh, they are? Oh, there's the first guy I saw. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. One guy wearing it. Thank you. I wanted to know an answer to that. So that's the answer. It's a tactical situation. They can't wear masks, or it's hard to wear them. So there you have it. Well, she was friendly. They've been pretty friendly with us. Oh, here we go, Bruce. Everybody watching? We got another stream coming. I feel like I'm in a parade. I think they're about to arrest a whole lot more people. Wow, you guys, it is trippy to be standing up next to that many squad cars blaring their sirens coming down at you. It's a weird, I almost get where cops get their sense of power. It is a weird feeling standing next to them as they're all zipping, rushing by. They can run through anything, they can go around anything. They're powerful vehicles, they've got guns in them, and like, we're in charge. I can see how it becomes a power rush at times for people. And just standing next to it, it's like, whoa, it's like what a show of force. Like, you know, imagine if they suddenly stopped and went for me, you'd be like, I'm fucked, you know? So pretty interesting. And I don't know if you can feel that through the, Bruce, do you think people can feel that through the phone, through the app, through the video?
So I definitely feel it. Like, I feel a sense of like awe when you're sitting there and you just hear like how loud the sirens are, and as the cops cars are just blazing right by you.
You know, it doesn't do justice in the little picture, but man, right up at you, they're just like right at you. I can do that noise again if you want to. All right. So,
all right, I got more questions coming in.
Oh, wait, let me just check out our vat. What we got? More coming.
All right.
This is a lot. Round two coming in. These guys are going straight. So those guys all turned right. These guys are going straight. So the first, this is crazy. So the first group came down and turned. This group went straight. Now this group, we got a whole nother group coming in this way, and a guy running across the street to get out of the way. And he's taking his time. He's not in a hurry. He's like, I ain't going anywhere. Whoa. I feel like I'm in a massive fucking parade of something.
Rob, show us the street. Just keep it right there. Just keep it on the street.
Wow, I have no idea what that was all for. Literally, it's like a motorcade times 100.
Rob, we're getting people saying
Trump
thank you.
He doesn't get this many cops. He wishes this was him driving his motorcade around. This kind of police presence.
Rob, we're getting people saying thank you for bringing your mask with you.
And the motorcycle cops here waiting. I kind of want to go up to him and talk, but I know it's not a good idea, so I won't. But they're waiting. They're just sort of waiting at the corner. I'm going to try. I'm going to ask. I'm going to see if I can get a quick answer. I don't know that I'll be able to, but I can certainly try. But they all have their lights on, so I don't get too close.
Sure.
Hey, officer. I know you guys are in the middle. We're doing a live stream for Fox. Are you guys closing this area off, or are we wrapping things up? Like, we just saw like 100 cars. Closing it off. Are there more arrests? It's closed off now. Okay, there you got it. He answered my question. That was excellent. Thank you, sir. Looked at me like, hey, what are you talking to me on my bike for?
That was awesome, though.
What's that?
That was awesome.
What?
That was awesome that he was able to talk to you and you were able to talk to him before he left off on his bike.
Yeah, notice, so I kept a little social distancing, you know?
Yeah.
And that wasn't as much about the coronavirus as that they were all looking at me like lights flashing and the whole thing, like you step too close to our bikes and we're gonna like, you know, step on you, step on my neck, even though I'm a white guy. Times of violence and tension, color doesn't matter at that point, you know. Anybody getting in their way can be a, you know.
I got a few more questions coming in.
All right, let's get them before I run out of power.
Sure. Boo Boo Lou is asking, is everything now starting to look like it's under control?
Well, so that's what I was just, good question. What's her name?
Booba Lou from YouTube.
Booba Lou. It's hard to say. So best I can say is, yes, they appeared to be wrapping it up and ending it, and they pulled away from City Hall and moved down, and they made, as you heard some of the officers just tell me, they just made a subsequent round of a lot of arrests. But then what appears to have happened is they brought in this new wave of, we saw like about 60, 70 squad cars, maybe 80, who knows. And what that officer just said to me is we are closing off the whole area, sealing the whole little area. And I think they're going to arrest more people that are in that central area on 6th Street where they won't let me get into. So I would say seems like what they've done is it's not necessarily dying. It's not wrapping up as much as they've sort of squished in on where the center of it is. And they're circling the whole area and sealing it and going to arrest whoever else is in the middle of that, it sounds like. So it didn't sound like those guys were saying we're done. The cops up here, I'm walking back towards City Hall, they were saying we're done. These guys, it sounded like we're going in to shut the whole area, shut that little circle completely off and, you know, arrest some more people. What it sounded like.
All right, I'm going to move on down before you lose battery.
10%, right. Guys, down to 10%.
Got it. So we have people asking, does anyone know if there's a break-in at the jewelry district?
Don't know the answer to that.
All right.
I'm not that far from the jewelry district, but so let's just go with a don't know, but certainly possible.
Sure. Another one coming in.
Back to that other question. So here's about another 5 cars coming with no lights. So we're getting a mix of the streams of cars with lights and sirens blaring, and then lots of cars pulling out and driving down, lights off, like they're kind of pulling out. So I feel like they're pulling out and a pushing in.
Got it. So real quick, I have people asking, so they'd like to know, who is Rob Nelson?
All right, well, we'll tell you who they are. Oh, here's a little looting. Someone did that to your building, huh? Well, here we go. We got a little looting right here. Someone put RIP George Floyd. Let me ask you. We're doing a live stream. Got a lot of viewers. How do you feel about what just happened to your store?
I think it's not a store. It's an
apartment building. Sorry.
It's just they're off message, man. This is not what we're about. They're losing sight of George Floyd.
And when you say what we're about, meaning about justice for the right reasons.
Yeah, people are frustrated, I guess.
Yep.
I get it. I'm with that, but this is off message. It's not where we're at.
Am I getting you in here? Yeah, we're getting you. Yeah, it's off message, right?
Yeah.
We've been talking about that, right?
Yeah.
Like, you understand why people are fed up. You understand where the anger comes from, the injustice.
Yeah.
But then you're looting, tearing things up, shooting at cops who are just, you know. It's not what we're supposed to be about. Right. Thanks for sharing that. Sorry about your building.
Protest peacefully, people.
Protest peacefully. Well said. So that was an apartment building. You saw someone just bashed in their front glass on it, you know? And that guy's clearly a liberal supporter of, you know, of justice and protest for the right reasons and peaceful protest, but not this. So here you got a community person saying this, I'm in favor of supporting this, but this isn't what it's supposed to be about. Not supposed to be about looting and rioting and just shooting. It's not what the message, it doesn't make anything better. And it doesn't really deal with the problem. It's just violence against, little violence triggering more violence, triggering more violence.
Got it, Rob.
One more question?
Yeah, so I'm going to shotgun it. So people want to know, who are you real quick? Just give them a quick intro.
I'm Rob Nelson. I used to host a show on Fox News. I had a daytime talk show on Fox, a radio show on KBC. I've been a media personality for a long time. In my 20s, I was one of the leaders of the politics of Generation X. So I'm a Generation X guy. New York Times said I was one of the spokespeople of it, and built a massive accountability campaign of young people, our generation, when we were all in our 20s and late teens, and sort of helped shape the politics of my generation. And now what I'm trying to do is create a conversation with people around the country, because I feel like the media, and I've been in the news media, on both sides is so polarized, so divided, and we are so divided, and we need to find common ground, and we need to really start having a real dialogue toward change. And so I'm trying to do that and use my experience. I love connecting with people. I love talking to people. As you can see, I like getting right in the middle of it. And I felt kind of barred in by TV, the traditional sense, and the news media and the traditional structure. It's all a bunch of talking heads, all staged. It's not real. It's not real people. You just saw real people. You saw a real guy in his apartment building. You saw real cops on the street in the middle of, fending off from riots, talking to me. That's what I like doing. And I want to connect that conversation with everybody out there so we can actually start being a voice of the people.
Adam
That's what I'm
McKillen.
Nelson about.
Adam McKillen, thank you very much for the question. Moving on down, Juan Hernandez says that there was some shooting down at 7th Street between Spring and Broadway. Cops were being shot at, and everyone was on the ground.
Yes. So when we first started this stream, what's our listener's name? Viewer?
Juan Hernandez from YouTube.
So Juan, yes. And when we first started the stream, we were talking to some police officers in front of City Hall, and that's where we first got that they were shooting at us. So, but officer, I think it was Cordova, the woman I was talking to a few minutes ago, said no one was killed. So they were shooting at the cops. The cops apparently shot back, or at least used something to shoot back at them. And, nobody died. I don't think anybody actually went to the hospital from that, but there were shooting at the cops. And, when you shoot at cops, then the cops it's like hitting a bee's nest or a hornet's nest. Then they get it goes boom. So you could feel that tension, everybody watching. And Bruce, you've been with me the whole time. You could feel the tension, right? Even in the cops who were a little removed from it, you could feel that tension before we got to the guys with pizza and soda. You could just feel the tension in there, like uptight.
I'm moving on down.
Ready.
Yep. I'm going to move on down to the next question. We're getting quite a few coming in. All right. Okay. Matt, he says he wants to cut to me. All right, Matt, this is Headquarters Central here at the main office. Thank you for tuning in. Kirti, thank you for tuning in from India from Facebook. Hey there. Let's see. Ramik Givandian says, be careful, Rob. We need you, and thank you for giving us fresh news.
You are welcome. I'm doing my best. I got to admit, I like a little danger in my life. It's good for me.
Let's see. We have people from Periscope saying, we notice a lot of pharmacies are getting hit. Have you noticed that around the area?
Have not.
Okay.
Have not. Again, I'm in a part of downtown that there aren't really a lot of pharmacies. Where I am, I'm sort of a weird place, a few blocks off City Hall. It's a little residential. There's a lot of little shops. But again, it sounds like, from what I can gather, there was less looting here and more outright violence.
People are worried that you're going to start to get arrested too.
Oh, come on! You saw my demeanor. I'm good with the cops, right?
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. Yeah.
I make listen. They're in a tough spot. You saw them. She said, "I have my opinions. I'm human." The sheriff said to me, "Look, it's a tough time for everybody right now." I keep myself out of trouble, but thank you for worrying about me. Maybe the motorcycle guy, he might have been thinking about it. Like, if you take a step closer to me, that's it.
Well, on the good side, though, it looks like it's starting to calm down. Let me move on down. Let's see. Andrew Neal says, move over CNN. Tonight's news, Rob Nelson gets arrested for doing a live stream. Just kidding. Thank you for tuning in, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay.
And Bruce, if I lose my feed, I'm going to be back to my car in a few minutes.
Sure.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
Yep.
We've got a last group of sheriffs down here. Unwinding. Long day at the office. I can plug into my car and keep going.
Perfect. And I got another comment coming in. This is a good one here.
And Bruce, when I drop my thing, your feed's still going, right? So we're good.
Yep. I'll still keep going. Yep.
Bruce will carry on in my stead, like Batman and Robin.
Are you heading back to the car right now, right?
Bruce in that case, right?
You're heading back to the car right now, right?
Right. If we're Batman and Robin, I'm really Batman, you're Robin, but I'm Robin, you're Bruce. So I don't know. It's kind of right.
Well, it trades off on certain days, Rob.
Okay.
All right. So Drew from GZ on Facebook, thank you for tuning in, says people are so out of it and don't realize that we're going to pay for all this mess with a new tax that no one's even heard of. That's probably true.
Yeah, well, it is true. Yeah, of course we are. Let me tell you something, though. We're going to pay for this with a lot more than a new tax. We are at a point, guys, in our society, we are breaking at the seams. And this virus may have been the thing we think it's killing people with a infectious disease. It's killing people because it's triggering a much worse infectious disease, an infection in sort of how we are as human beings. And we are going to pay for this because this is not the end, but is the beginning of some serious unrest. And we haven't even dealt with how the millions of people who are out of work and losing their jobs and losing their businesses, and losing their retirements and losing their futures are going to react. I hate to say it, but we're at the beginning of a pretty ugly phase in our society if we don't start really figuring out how to come together. And even if we do start figuring out, we're still in it. So yeah, we're going to pay for this with a tax. We're going to pay for this with a whole lot more. And it's going to human lives, and it's also just in how we are as human beings, you know? I mean, for God's sake, we're all in this together, whatever our views, whatever our race is. And we should be trying to come together, and instead we're just ripping apart.
Thank you.
That's what I think.
Thank you, Rob. Coming in, we got more people asking, are there any fires that you've seen anywhere as you're walking around?
No, someone else asked that before too.
Yep.
No fires.
Okay.
There were a couple fire trucks, not enough to be dealing with big fires. I think they were there just in case. We went and saw like 2 fire trucks. One came out near the end there, but I don't think there were any fires.
All right.
There may have been a small one. I don't know. I'm not close enough, but it didn't seem like it.
Okay. Moving on down. People are asking, actually, is there any protesters still in LA that you can see?
No. So, again, where I just was about 2 blocks from the heart of it. They had sealed that area off at the end there, and they would already arrested at least 100 people. I'm going to guess, from what I could gather, around 100, maybe it was more. They were going to arrest some more, but they really seemed to have, and a lot of the cops are describing like it was less protests and more like rioting. So I think there are still some in that central hub right there, about a block and a half in from where the cops would not let me go anymore. They'd sealed that off. Right. I don't think there are that many left.
Got it.
But there still are some, because that's what they're sealed in that middle. But I can't get in there to see, you know? And the helicopters can see it. You saw, I tried every which way from Sunday. They would not let me get down any closer. They were like, this is where it goes. You can go around, you can go around. I was like, will I be able to get in there? They're like, nope.
Well, in that case, I have to
like getting shot or arrested particularly.
Yeah, I hope you don't get shot too.
I don't know if I'd rather be shot or arrested. I'm not sure which would be worse.
I think probably being shot might be worse.
What's that?
I think getting shot might be worse.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
All right, people are asking.
Bruce, you know what?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
I've been arrested. I've never been shot. So if I had to go for new experiences, you know, being shot would be the new one. All right, Bruce, I'm going to plug in the power here.
Sure. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up some more comments. I have some people wondering if something was staged. They were thinking that it might see some stuff that's staged over there.
So when they say was something staged, are they asking were we staging something, or were the police staging it?
When you were walking, did anything appear staged? Because it looked like it may have been staged to them.
By the police?
By the police or by the city?
You know, I get where you're coming from with that. I don't think so, to be honest. I mean, I do think so here's what I think. I think the police were trying to show a massive demonstration of force. I think they wanted to send a message, which is you started messing, you started rioting, you started vandalizing, you started protesting in a non-peaceful way. Whereas in Minneapolis, you know, tonight, folks, in Minneapolis, everybody, you know, there was no police presence. People were out, you know, looting, doing whatever. And literally the police were not around, you know, and, you know, news reports are saying there are no police anywhere around. It's like they were just letting people go. It was if tonight in LA, they saw that and they were like, not only will we have a presence, we will have a massive presence. I mean, how many cop cars did we see? I must have seen about 250 cop cars. And that's just what I was engaged with, swinging by me, around me, probably 300 cops that I saw, you know, in my little walks. So I think they came in with a massive presence and were like, we will shut you down if you do this. That's my sense of it. Not so much staged as a serious show of force and sort of sealing City Hall off there where we started.
Got it. Thank you. All right, coming in, I have Jack Richardson from New York. Thank you for tuning in, Jack. He says New York got hit harder than most other cities. All
Are we
right.
talking about the virus? Or are we talking about the riots?
I'll have him specified. Jack, follow up with us on
Yeah,
that.
Jack, are we talking riots or virus? If you're talking virus, yeah, New York got hit harder. New York has, basically about a quarter of all the cases are in New York State and New York City. Having about, I think about half of that, or 2/3 of that quarter. Of all the deaths and all the cases of the coronavirus. Think about it. It's like 100,000 people across the country have died of this disease. A quarter of them are in one state in New York. The other 75% are in the other, 49 states.
That's crazy. Those numbers are just insane.
Yeah.
We have Manu Hilgod and Anna Soloranzo saying that there are still some protesters that are in LA. Thank you for tuning in. Callie Plug from Periscope says, how long do you think that this is going to last?
Kelly, are you asking how long is this going to last tonight, or how long is what this is triggering going to last? So without knowing exactly what you're asking, I would say tonight. I'm going to guess they're going to have this thing wrapped up in about 2 hours, because they have sealed everything off to about a couple block area surrounded with cops. And I think they're arresting pretty much everybody in there who's not going home, or who's being violent. So my guess is they put a kind of a clamp on it. I think it's going to be interesting, because we've seen these riots popping up all over the country. As I said, Minneapolis kind of gave up on it. It was like, just do your thing. LA clamped down hard. And maybe part of that was because they want to basically send a message. You come out and do this tomorrow night, you ain't going to get far. So
right.
Again, I think what we're missing under this is people are pent up. People are pent up. So it's not just what triggered this initially. It's like people are like, let me out. Like, you had a bunch of people out of cages. So, people are looking for outlets. So, who knows? We'll see if there's more tomorrow. I think it'll be a lot smaller tomorrow in LA.
True. And it's funny you said that, because the next questions I have is Jackie Delgado from Facebook asking, do you think there's going to be a protest tomorrow? Thank you for tuning in, Jackie.
See, Jackie, I answered your question before you asked it. Like, we're on the same wavelength there.
All right, moving on down to the next one. So I have Jay Delius 87. They just broke into the Apple store close to the Starbucks that was broken into.
Okay, so Jay, I'm guessing you're in LA. Jake, can you tell us what street are you on? Are you on like up above 7th Street, 8th Street? And what? Which Starbucks? Figueroa? So hit me back with where you're getting that, because this way we can all be sharing, right? So I'm obviously back to my car. If you're in LA and you're out downtown, let us know where you are and what you're seeing. That would be really helpful. So Jay, hit me back with where exactly you are and what you're seeing.
All right, thank you very much, Jay. Let's see, moving on down. Thank you, Cynthia, for tuning in.
All right, here we go. Look, we got an ambulance. We've only seen 2 ambulances, which is a good sign.
Cynthia Marcus, thank you for tuning in, says the military is on their way from Fort Bragg and Fort Drum to Minnesota.
Yeah. So everybody who's not up on what's happening in Minnesota, right? So obviously, and you saw it in the Twitter fest and the whole thing, Trump saying yesterday, listen, I talked to the governor, we'll send the military in, we're on your side. The mayor of Minneapolis saying, don't overreact. We've got this under control. Tonight, they had no control. The National Guard, I think, was out, but the city lost control. I mean, people were saying there were no police presence. A friend of mine said to me, like, the police abandoned the city. I'm like, did they literally say that? And they were just like, no, there's nobody there. Like, the cops are nowhere to be seen. And even on major news outlets, like the so-called news outlets, like, again, I think all the news outlets are so-called news outlets, but, on CNN, they're like, hey, there's no police anywhere. So I think what happened in that was the feds just, and the president, and I think they were like, we're bringing in the actual military, not just the National Guard. That's my guess what that is, because they're like, we're going to restore order. And at this point, you got it. You can literally have people just looting and rioting and doing whatever they want. And that's just messed up for everybody else. By the way, again, none of this is saying you don't have a right to be angry. You don't have a right to be furious at the injustice that happened to George Floyd and to other Black Americans who've been mistreated by white cops or killed by white cops. And again, I've said it before. I've asked people on the street, I've asked Black guys on the street, which would you rather be, white or Black when driving? I've never had a person say I'd rather be Black when driving. I wouldn't. I get it. You feel like you do have kind of a special triggered gun to your head, and I get that sense of fear and insecurity and fury that people feel. But when people are doing this, you saw the guy in front of his apartment building there. They were cleaning up, and he was like, "I'm all for protesting. I'm all for the peaceful protesting. I'm all about justice in this thing." But this isn't showing justice. This isn't who we are. And you're like literally destroying your own community. You're looting your own stores. You're looting your community. You're stealing from yourself in a sense. That's not solving the problem. Nor is just shooting at cops randomly because they're cops, as if all cops are the same, And it almost proves why you want cops, because otherwise you have Minneapolis where nobody's patrolling or stopping any of this right now. That was a long answer.
It works. It's appropriate right now. Okay, from Periscope we have Milord Tiziton says, "I'm on 3rd and Union. I can only hear helicopters and police sirens." That's kind of seems like that's a theme in LA. So thank you for tuning in tonight.
Yeah. So on 3rd and Union. So we were on. We started obviously on Figueroa on Broadway and Temple. We made our way down to just about to 5th Street, and 5th Street. And were we on Broadway still at that point? Yeah, I guess we were on 5th and Broadway. So 3rd and Union, for those of you who don't know, would be a couple blocks, but we crossed 3rd Street, and Union would be a couple blocks down. So you're still about 8 blocks away from the center where we just were. And if you were by the center where we were, as you could see if you were watching the stream, we were literally, I felt like I was about to get run over at one point. Like I'm on the corner and there's cops streaming down one way, streaming down the other way, and streaming down the other way. It was a little intense. And I felt for a moment there, I was like, whoa, it was like being in like a, universal theme park ride. Like for a minute, it was just like, whoa, just rushing at you. That was a lot of police presence and a lot of sirens. I don't know, Bruce, watching and everybody out there, is it sound as loud to you as it does to me? Probably not, right? Like it was like boom, or you got the full sense of it?
Yeah, in my headsets, it was just blazing loud. Yeah.
My beautiful iPhone 10. Forget it. Get a Android. I'm done with my iPhone, by the way.
We'll talk about that later. Okay, Gasterific Muncher says it looks like it's going to be martial law tonight. I don't know. It looks like things are kind of calming down in LA.
Yeah, so let's be clear about this, because it's easy for us to kind of overreact. It is not martial law. I mean, martial law is when the government steps in, and even a curfew is not martial law. So I'm a big guy and don't over exaggerate. And I'm not being critical here, but martial law is they bring in the military and establish a mandatory military presence. There's police, there's military everywhere. You walk out, you're going through checkpoints. You saw how close I got, and I'm going to get out of my car right here. I'm about 8 blocks from where I was. There's no cops. There's people out. There's nothing even close to martial law. There's nothing even close to a curfew right now. Where we were, and we were 2 blocks from the heart of that thing, there were hundreds of cops and lots of sirens. But even there, everybody, you saw how close I got. I walked up to those cops on the street. I walked up to those cops on their motorcycles with their lights flashing. And, nobody arrested me. Like I said, that one motorcycle cop looked like he was like, you take another step closer, but he talked to me, I'm just going to say that has to do with how, charming I am or something, but whatever.
Could be, Rob. Moving on down. So we have Periscope. Nikki Gannon says the only way this is going to stop is the Floyd family comes out and asks for it to stop. So I read on social media that the Floyd family did ask, but they have not done it in front of a TV presence. What do you think about that,
right,
Rob?
So here's is that Nikki who asked that question?
Correct.
So Nikki, what I would say is, sorry guys, the light's not great in here. I'm trying my best. I think I killed my battery. Yeah, I did. So I'm not getting a charge anymore, Bruce. what I would say is that that it's probably not going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter, to be honest. I think that at this point, people don't care. You know, I think they're not doing it. Like, I don't think, people are saying be peaceful, protest peacefully. I think at a certain level at this point, people really don't care. They're past that point. So I think everyone could come out. The families could come out. They could say, this isn't what we want. This isn't the way this should happen. This is way beyond that. This violence, this rage is way beyond that at this point.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Nikki, for that. Let's move on down to, let's see. Callie Plug says, do you believe that there's undercover policemen rioting and causing damage all around?
I do not believe. I'm not big on conspiracies, which doesn't mean I don't think they happen. I just think a lot of times we think things are we make up theories in our head. I don't think the police are trying to foment this. I do think, look, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I don't think there's a lot of undercover cops riding around trying to just stir up violence. I do think there are protesters who fed into all these things who are trying to do it. I do think, I didn't see it here in LA, but I know in Atlanta there was an Antifa presence trying to stir things up. And but I don't think in general it's a situation where you have the police trying to do it. And think about it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You have people shooting at the police. Like, they don't win. They're civil, again, like cops or don't like them. They don't benefit by having people rioting. It makes their lives miserable. It means more people shoot at them. It's not like, it's not like they want to do it. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, Kelly Plug, for that. Moving on down. So Nikki Gagnon thinks that she believes that they want us to hate each other, that they are egging us on. I think she's referring to the government.
Well, so I would say, so read that again to me, Bruce.
Sure. She believes that the government wants us to hate each other. She believes that they're egging us on.
Okay. So, you know what I'm going to say to that? I buy that, okay? I get it. I think, and I think that there's a lot of commerce in hate. And I think a lot of people, a lot of the mainstream media, I think a lot of the major political parties, I think they benefit off conflict. They benefit when we're opposed to each other. They benefit when they make, people will go on news shows. And like I said, I used to do a show on Fox News, and people will go on shows and they'll say, the producers kind of want them to fight with each other. They want them to argue. They want them to disagree. They want the black guy to always say white people are bad. And they want the white people to always say something inappropriate about the black people. It's like they do benefit. They get more ratings. And I think to some extent there is a level of the political class benefits with unrest. It allows them to stay more in control. So I buy it to some extent, I'm not sure how conscious they are of it, but at some level, authorities like it when everybody's at each other's throats, and then they can keep more control.
Yeah, I hear you. Moving on down to the next question.
So let me share a moment with you guys.
Yep.
Here's a great moment about how social media works, right? So we're live streaming this, right, Bruce? And yep. I ran out of power, so I came back to my car. As you all saw, I'm doing this now, broadcast from the car. And I left my battery on too long and I killed it, right? And I said to you, my battery's dying. I'm doing the stream and a text shows up on my phone from my mechanic who's watching the stream, I guess. And he's like, I heard your battery died. I have a stick shift. He's like, don't forget, you can put it in second gear and push it down a hill and pop start it. And that's great because I'm thinking when this is over, I got to call AAA. And I'm like, right, how beautiful is that, right? I don't know, something about the realness of it is awesome.
You want us to let you go so that way you can call AAA?
No, I just said I don't need to call AAA. That's what a mechanic reminding me. I can put my car in second gear and get someone to push it and pop start it.
There you go. Okay, and we'll move on down to the next. So Gasterific Muncher from YouTube. Gasterific says, sound cannons and microwaves will be used tomorrow. If you have a link or info, please let us know. I'll put it up on the screen. Thank you for tuning in. All right, Badger.
Bruce, you talk for a minute, Bruce. Hold on.
You got it. So Badger time. Sir, go ahead. Yeah. So let's see. We have Badger Time. It says we have a giant wave of riots that are being sparked by a premeditated murder. And
Say
and you
that
know what?
again,
This
Bruce.
isn't. Yeah, Badger Time on Periscope says we have a giant wave of riots sparked by a premeditated murder. This isn't the first time it happened. When Facebook Live came out, I think it was back in what 2016, like or even 2015, a few months before the elections. Remember, we had at any given time like a dozen riots because Facebook Live had just came out, and people were just talking about like a lot of the black community. Oh my gosh, my husband died. He's in the passenger seat. He just got shot in the chest, and it was really sad and devastating to hear. But kind of Facebook Live caused a lot of those riots to occur. And I don't remember. I don't know if a lot of you guys remember
So
that from the summer.
so is the point whether or not social media is causing this?
No, Badger was saying it's a little too coincidental. His question is, don't you find the timing all weird, just as the economy is about to open back up as well?
Oh, well, again, look, this is where I think this is something I've been saying for a while, and where I think we're in such a messed up time because there's been so much division, and because information's been so weaponized by both sides, but so weaponized, people end up looking and thinking everything is somebody else's intentional plan. So if you're a conservative, you're going, oh, how convenient, right? As the economy's starting to open up, which will help Trump and help Republicans maybe, well, look what happens. Now, is it a coincidence? Is it intentional? You can't blame people for wondering because they start going, everything seems suspicious because we've weaponized all the information. And our media no longer reports objectively or fairly about most things. I'm not saying there aren't good reporters out there. There are. But for the most part, we literally have two different. You could walk through Fox News and CNN and MSNBC on one side. You literally would think you're in two different worlds every day. Two totally different sets of experiences and views on it. Completely opposite with this, only one thing can be true. So I get where that comes from. Again, I don't think this was started because I think this is one of those things. People know history, World War I started because, because someone assassinated the Archduke of Archduke Ferdinand. Where was he the Archduke of? Germany? Not Germany. Anyway, the Archduke was assassinated, and Austria. And, that assassination triggered a world war. I think sometimes
Right,
events happen
Austria.
and trigger things.
Yeah, you're right. It was Austria.
Keep going. What do you got?
No, you're right. It was Austria.
Yeah, Austria. Yeah. Just took me a minute. I wouldn't do great on Jeopardy.
That's all right. Thanks, Badger, for chiming in. He was saying because the reason why I said that he's saying is because the bioweapon failed. Now, race war was their fallback to encourage and push a silent civil war in America.
Okay.
That was his thought process. I just thought that was interesting. Badger, thank you for tuning in. All right, moving on down. So Milo says, do you think the majority of the riots and looting are caused by Antifa?
No, I think a percentage of them are. I think they were triggered. Certainly in Atlanta, it sounds like Antifa triggered it, and in Minneapolis. I don't know that in LA they did. I wasn't close enough to see, but I think they trigger it, and then a whole lot of other people are doing it. There weren't 250 Antifa people. They didn't arrest 100 Antifa people, but they're like the spark that triggers it.
There's a reason why that question came up, and then the chat in Periscope is talking about it. So I'm going to follow up on that. Badger Time, who just gave the previous question, is saying, why are there riots in Democrat-controlled cities only?
Well, I think that's actually a pretty easy answer. I
Yeah.
think there are riots in Democrat-controlled cities only because all major cities in the U.S. are pretty much run with, most of them have Democratic mayors and Democratic establishments that are pretty deep-seated. Now, you can argue that's a cause of a whole lot of problems in, that you can say, that's an argument Republicans and conservatives have made is, well, why don't you give Republicans a chance to run your cities? Because Democratic leaders haven't done a great job, particularly with people who are lower income and particularly with communities of color. But I think they're in those cities because that's who runs most U.S. cities. That's simple.
Yep, I agree with you 100% there. So now we're getting some nice shout outs. Callie Plug says Rob Nelson is the revolution right now. Thank you very much, Callie.
Thank you, Kelly. I kind of like that. Rob Nelson is the revolution. I sort of like that.
I like that too. All right, moving on down. So Bruce Illist says, didn't they catch an undercover officer starting fires in Minnesota yesterday? I
Don't
read
know
that
the
too.
answer to that. Don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
the
know if
answer.
that's true.
Again, we got to be careful with these things, right? So if you can prove it, yeah, let's hear it. But a lot of rumors and innuendo go around. So don't know the answer. Be worth finding out. Again, we're the voice. We have to be the people's media voice, right? Like we have to be our own media. We have to be our own voice.
True. People are saying that they think it's civil war because deep state assets are being deployed.
I mean, again, I don't know. Look, I believe in a deep state, and I know people hate that word and some people love it. I think we have a really entrenched, deep rooted government system, and there's a deep state in that. And then people talk about layers of a deep state that are deeper than the deep, you know. And I don't think that's crazy. I mean, look, I worked in Washington. I worked in law school for President Clinton. I worked in the White House. I mean, I saw layers of stuff the average person wouldn't see. So, you know, is there a deep state? Absolutely. Is the deep state employed in this? I don't know. I think if whatever that deep state government apparatus is employed in some ways in everything. And I hate when people say there's no deep state. That's more offensive than anything. It's like the deep state could be as simple as the entrenched bureaucracy and how deep those layers go, you know. And I'll tell you this quick story. When I was working for Clinton, I was alone with him in the White House one day, and I said something that pissed him off, and it was and he pointed his finger in my face and he said, "You know what, Rob? Just because I'm the president doesn't mean I can do whatever I want." He's like, "People always think that. It's just not the way it works." Well, why not? Because there's powers around the president that make it difficult. Deep state, yeah.
You're getting some props, Rob. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. This Periscope is better than anything on TV right now.
I like that. Thank you.
Appreciate that, guys.
That's our goal.
All right. So we have YouTuber Sean Tavasoli. If I can get to my car, I'll give you a jump.
Are you in LA?
Do you want to give? Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Do you
love
want
that. Listen, let's make it real. Why not? Yeah, I'm on. I would actually love that. That would be great if you can get to your car and give me a jump. I am above the 101 on. Well, let's see. Where am I? I'm above Temple. I'm a block. I'm off Temple. I'm on Temple, I guess. No, I'm a block in from Temple. So I'm between Temple and here we go, everybody, right? What's better than a YouTube live stream where you're also getting directions to get your car jumped? I'm right at Civic Center. So, I'm pretty easy to get to on a big old overpass. Yeah. So if he can get to me, I would love it. Bruce, you can give him my coordinates.
Yep, you got it.
What street is this? Ask the guy, but he won't tell me. He's less talkative than the cops, the homeless guy. All right, let's get another question. I'll keep going.
Yep.
I'd love that too, by the way, because if anybody could give me a jump, because I'm going to run out of power and my car doesn't have battery to jump at my phone. So I don't care about the car as much as I don't want to stop the stream.
Rob, let me know when you want me to head out there. Just give me the address.
What's that?
I said, if you want to give me the address, I'll head out there now and give you a jump.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But you mean when we're all done? But I don't want to lose my battery power.
Well, do you want to shoot me over the address you're at right now, and I'll put it up on the screen for anybody who might be close by?
Yep. All right, let's take another question. I'm on the run again.
All right. Let's see.
But come on, everybody. Don't you love the realness of this, right? Like real life problems. Your car is dead. Me running. But then we get the real life interaction with the cops and with people. Plus,
all right.
You get the live up. That's what it should be, right? That's what real information should be. Real.
Rob, how much percentage of battery do you have left?
How much do I have left?
Yeah.
About 5%.
Okay, so Sean Tavasoli, thank you for jumping in. He says that give him a minute. He's heading out the door. He's on
all right,
second.
I'm at Hill and Temple.
Okay, he's at First and Main.
Okay, so I'm at Hill and Temple.
Got it. And Sean's on his way over right now.
I'm up the block from Hill and Temple, so I'm at Hill and Temple, half a block uphill.
Got it.
Right over.
Rob, we're losing you, so let me go ahead and just let you go. I think we just lost Rob, everybody. Okay, I'm going to go on down and continue on with a bunch of your comments, and we'll continue where we left off. All right, Badger, thank you for tuning in again. You said that we skipped your question about the timing of the murder. I thought we brought it up. You thought it was like, kind of questionable of like, why is the timing of the murder coming up now, with the riots also happening right after Corona so close to the elections? You know what? I don't know how to speculate against something like that because maybe, I mean, that's possible. But that would be really messed up if that was the case, right? That would be extremely screwed up. It's about an information war. It's not about conservative versus liberal. To a degree, I guess I could see that. I could see that absolutely. But I do think a small part of it might be left versus right. But how much of it, who knows? It's just pure guess off the top of my head. Milo says I'm with Badger time. You know what? You make some good points. Definitely not going to deny that. All right, moving on down. Cynthia, thank you for tuning in. It's not our skin color. We are all humans. It's good against evil. You know what? I read something interesting, and there's Rob. Let's see if we can get him back. Everyone is a hero in their own mind. Keep that in mind. Rob, you there?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm just going down through everyone else's questions.
Okay. Hey, so someone's actually coming to jump me, huh? I love that.
That's awesome. Yeah, people are saying
Hey, what's
it's
the
great.
guy's name? Ask him what kind of car he's driving.
Sean, if you can hear me, Sean Tavasoli, what kind of car color were you driving?
And ask him if he just drove by me in a little van.
Hopefully that's him. Just yell out, Sean, is that you? Or Sean T.
Hey, Sean T, is that you? Maybe not. All right, well, we're back in. I'm going as long as I can. Now I got a little battery power from my car to keep my phone on. It's not much.
Got it.
All right, let's do some more questions. Let's keep it going. Come on.
Sure. Kelly Plug was asking, who are the owners of Fox News? We can look it up.
The Murdochs.
There you go.
The Murdochs. Rupert Murdoch and his family owns Fox News. They own all of Fox.
Got it. Thank you for that. Milo.
And just so you all know,
yep.
And I know it's a little dark in here. I knew Roger Ailes pretty well, who was the guy who started Fox News. And leaving aside whatever people say about his personal life, and I don't know how much of that's true or not, I will say this. I was never once pressured by Fox News or by Roger Ailes, who was one of the media moguls of the last 50 years, to ever say anything I didn't believe. And I'm not an ultra conservative. I was the liberal on Fox News, I worked for Clinton. I was never told say something. People always say, Fox, I was never told what to say. I said what I wanted, just as a FYI.
I like that. I like that transparency. Appreciate that. True story.
True story.
True story. So Milo from Periscope, he says there's a civil war happening right under our nose. What do you think about that?
I think it's true. I think we are having a civil war. I think it's a cultural civil war. I think it's going to have it's an economic civil war. And I think we're going to see a lot of violence connected to that as well. But remember, all wars aren't just with weapons and aren't just with violence. There is an economic war and a cultural war, and those have real consequences, everybody. I mean, an economic war divides us further. 40 million people out of work. People aren't getting those jobs back. Not all of them. Companies are going under. The haves and the have-nots are getting wider. The cultural war, you can't say or think certain things, not just say them, but think them. And that's creating a division, and that's creating an intolerance and a hatred, which shows up in social media, in our interactions, and in violence. So yeah, I think it's happening.
IE Gamer says, nice, the community's helping each other out. Total agree. Could not love this community more. Thank you.
Like it a lot. We'll see now. Sean's really on his way. We heard from Sean. Sean, you out there? You got an update for us?
No, he hasn't. He hasn't come back yet. He hasn't come back
John's
yet.
like, I'm out of here. Change my mind.
Yeah. So Mr. TT Toad says this is Armageddon.
No,
I don't think so either.
no.
Yeah.
But you know what? I get it. And I think guys, we tend to want to think things are Armageddon than they are. Remember how the whole thing for the last 3 years, like with Trump, it was like, the country's falling apart, the like the republic's falling apart. Like, yeah, it was never falling apart. But don't get me wrong. I think this is going to be ugly and painful, and it's not going to be pretty. And I'm not minimizing it. There is a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot of homelessness, a lot of depression, a lot of suicides. Somehow humanity, we managed to pull through. I mean, that's what I love about this. This is a community right here, guys. This is humanity. We are humanity. Think about it. We are humanity. It's not just the other guy, it's us. So we're going to figure it out. We are representative of millions of other people out there who are looking for something better, and will fight for it.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. TT Toad from YouTube. Mama Bear from YouTube asks, "Are you listening to police scanners right now?" No, but I have my command center. I have 3 monitors, and I'm actually looking for Facebook Live videos to find out where something close by towards
Right,
LA. So
right,
I'm scanning the YouTube videos and the
right.
Facebook Live videos.
And Mama Bear, we got other people who are watching police scanners who are joining into our community and sharing what they're seeing. So anybody who's got a police scanner out there, let us know what you're seeing. Let Bruce at Command Center know. Now, I didn't have police scanners, but I had a lot of cops. They were like police scanners for me. They were like the real deal.
I got people listening into the scanners. So Jacob Montejano from YouTube says the scanners are going nuts right now.
And what are they getting on those scanners, Jacob? Bruce, wouldn't this be great if all these people could be actually talking with us?
Actually, you know what? Let's do that. So I'm gonna put the invite, the StreamYard invite on the screen, and have anyone who wants to join in jump in with us.
Okay.
In the meantime. All right,
And
moving
let's
on.
put it out there again, by the way, because I'm going to run out of power. So if there's anybody who could come and who's near Temple and Hill in LA and wants to give me a jump start, man, I would appreciate it.
All right, let me know when you want me to just come out there. I'll do it myself, Rob.
Yeah, but can you keep the stream going?
I will be able to keep the stream going. We just won't be able to pull up any comments.
All right. Well, we'll let you know. If I die out completely, you're going to have to come rescue me.
Got it.
If nobody else comes.
Okay.
Again, I can push myself down a hill here, folks. I just got to get to a hill. I got to get a couple people to push my car, which I might do if people walk by me.
All right, let's move it on down to the next. Move it on down to the next one.
Yep. Next question.
All right, so we have. Dang, the comments are just on fire. They just won't stop coming in. So the Murdochs are Zionists. Are they? Question mark.
I don't know about that. Again, that's back, guys, in the conspiracy thing. And I don't mean to be knocking all conspiracy theories, Obviously, I believe there's conspiracies out there, who killed Kennedy? One, just Oswald alone? No, And by the way, I knew a number of the Kennedys in my political stuff. And I asked Joe Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy's oldest son, this question. He was a congressman. And I asked him, do you think he killed, the one person killed your uncle, JFK? And he's like, no. I know it wasn't one person. We all know it. All the Kennedys know. I was like, why don't you say anything? He's like, well, what good would it accomplish? So I buy conspiracies. I don't know. Calling them Zionists, I don't know that, look, I'm willing to be shown if they are. And, like that's kind of an extreme, again, you're back in that kind of, that otherworldly kind of conspiracy stuff. So I don't think so, but, prove me otherwise. Bruce, let people know, by the way, we got to tell people how to stay in touch with us, right? Let's give them the info on this stuff. So get people to follow us,
So
on all our socials.
I've had it on the bottom. So on Periscope and on Twitter, I had the feed going on the bottom. So make sure you follow Rob Nelson. We do our shows twice a week. It's at Rob Nelson Live. It doesn't matter if it's Facebook, doesn't matter if it's Instagram, Twitch, Periscope. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube. It doesn't matter if it's Twitter. It'll be at Periscope, at excuse me, it'll be at Rob Nelson Live. Now,
Right, it's
I
all
have
at Rob Nelson Live. It's our handle. And we want followers, and we want voices, and we want a community, and we want you all talking with us and answering these questions. It's like I don't have all the answers, right? I'm trying to get the answers. I'm giving my best shot at them. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I want, part of it's creating a community where we're all sharing our stories, all sharing our insights, and all sharing our viewpoints. Because I could be wrong about 10 things I'm saying. I like to think I'm right, but I don't know. I could, we're all learning, right? Nobody knows everything.
Yep, true, true. All right, moving on down. So on the police scanner, it says that she heard that the police are mobilizing on 6 and are cornering everybody. And
Yeah, yep,
Jacob is
yes,
confirming that.
yes. And we were there. That's where we were. And the police confirmed that to us, right? So if you were with us down there, the cops were saying, yes, we are cordoning off that little area where they wouldn't let me get in any closer. And we are basically arresting all the people inside of it. We've sealed it off. And that final rush, if you were with us, of those hundreds of cop cars, was them sealing that little couple block area off.
Got it. Thank you very much for that. It looks like we had some recent murder, some people that were just killed a little bit ago too.
Really?
Yeah, they
So
just
those would be
killed.
the first deaths.
It might be. I've heard we got one person, Tombstone TT, on YouTube reporting that says that they just killed Aladdin and Terrell 40 minutes ago. If you can give me some more info on that, let me know so I can pull it up on the screen and I'll share it on the stream with everybody. Thank you,
Yep.
Tombstone. Okay, moving on down. Let's see, Badger from Periscope. He asks, "Do you guys stream on YouTube and or archive this stream?" Yes, we stream it everywhere, and after the streams are done, you'll be able to replay it back as soon as we're done doing the live stream.
Yep. Yep.
Let's
Yes,
see.
we stream back. And Bruce, tell them again. We're streaming everywhere, right? And just so you know, we do Rob Nelson Live, a live show every month, every Wednesday at 6 Pacific time, and every Friday at 6 Pacific time. So we're streaming Rob Nelson Live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope, Twitter, on Twitch every Wednesday at 6, every Friday at 6 Pacific time. And really, I want you guys to be watching, following. And those are interactive shows just like this. This is our on the street in the middle of it. We're trying to hit things like this, whenever we can. But we're doing a live show where you can be part of it every Wednesday, every Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific time at Rob Nelson Live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, Periscope. Am I missing anything, Bruce? And so we want you in that with us. So be part of that.
I think that was pretty much it. Sean says he's walking to his car.
Somebody's turning around in front of me. All right, Sean, thanks. Could use you, my friend. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it so much. So I'm, like I said, Hill and Temple, right up Temple above Hill, on the bridge over the 101 in a green Honda, blue Honda. I always call it green. It's blue. I don't know, colorblind.
Thank you for tuning in. We have Edwin Pineda from Facebook asks, are the protests still going on in Los Angeles right now?
No. So let's put it this way. First of all, it's debatable how much they were ever protests. It sounds like they turned pretty violent pretty fast. I would say at this point, there are no more protests going on. There is a cordoned off area where we got about a block from on 6th Street off Broadway, where they have sealed it off. They've arrested. We're guessing the cops told us around 100. I'm guessing it's more than that at this point, where they arrested a lot of people and basically there was shooting going on. Police were being shot at. Someone just told us somebody got killed. That's it. I would say the protests have been kind of squished down to a small group of people who, like I said, they were arresting. They had the cops pointed and showed how they like putting people in buses, arresting them and putting them in buses. This was a crackdown for sure, but it was also a violent reaction by people before the crackdown.
Let me tune you in. So Sean says he's on 2nd in Main and he's walking towards Hill and Temple.
Awesome. So, Sean, when you get to Hill and Temple, I'm not sure how far you are from it, but when you get to Hill and Temple, I'm, like I said, I'm up on the bridge. So, I'm on the hill of Hill. And you go up the hill above Temple, and I'm right in the middle of the bridge over the freeway. And
Rob,
even if you're walking, Sean, you can push my car and we can pop start it because it's a stick shift, as my mechanic told me.
Rob, if you need to reduce the brightness on your screen a little bit, if that makes that'll help
Yeah,
reduce.
good idea, Bruce.
Yep.
The tech info coming in as we do this.
All right, I'm gonna move on down to the next question. Guys, keep them coming in.
Yeah,
We get
keep it coming. This is the way to do it. This is the real deal.
Jacob and Mama Bear are still giving us play-by-play about the police scanner. Says that they're cornering a group on 6th and Main, and she's still shocked. And the jewelry district just got hit. Thank you, Bruce Roker, for joining us.
All right, so here's a question for all you guys. How do you all feel, right? I mean, if you're being honest, like I've given a lot of opinions. Are you more of the view that, like, first of all, do you understand? And again, do get all different answers to this. Do you understand where the anger comes from? Do you understand what the sense of injustice a lot of people of color feel? That's question one. Two is, why, what's your reaction to the level of violence and in the riots? Does anybody out there think it's justified? I don't think it's justified, the violent reaction. Does anybody think looting possibly makes sense as a response to this? And what do you think the right answer is? So where do you come down personally on this? Are you like a bunch of idiots? Are you like, I get why they're doing it? Are you like, like the guy whose building was busted into was like, wrong way to respond? Is peaceful protest not enough? Do you have to be violent to get attention? What do y'all think? Like, you can just give us quick answers. I made it such a complicated question. Bruce is probably going to be like, hey, can you just make it simple? Like,
I'm 30 comments behind. I'm trying to get us caught up. All right, Sharon Thomas asks, is this live? Yes, this is live, and we're live streaming on 8 different destinations. Sharon, thank you for tuning in. Bruce Roker clarifies that the person that was supposedly killed earlier was not killed; they were arrested. So, Bruce Roker, thank you for clearing that up.
Bruce. And by the way, again, we got pretty firsthand knowledge talking to the police officers, right? And you saw me ask, I think it was the officer Cordova. I'm getting her name wrong. Was it Cordova? Said no one was killed. So as of an hour ago, no one had been killed, and we had 2 different police officers confirm there were no deaths.
All right, thank you very much for that.
They're on the ground.
Thank you very much for that, Roker. All right, moving on down.
Here's a question. All right, and anybody out there, here's a question for you, Bruce. And you got another comment in. Are you scared right now? Not, are you scared? Are you looking at the future and are you scared? Whether it's about the violence, whether it's about the economy, your future, are you scared? Are you more scared today than you were 3 weeks ago about the future? Yes, no. It's my poll question. Bruce, you're not going to be able to calculate it, but maybe Can they send us?
Yeah,
no, we can't.
Yeah, they're going to send us yes and no's. So, guys, just do me a quick thing. Just answer some yes and no's while I move on to the next question there. So, Dreamer
asked, scared or no? Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
I have 4 no's. Keep them coming, guys. Thank you. 4 no's so far.
All right, no's are winning.
Yep. I understand where the anger is coming from, but looting and violence will only bring more violence. Dreamer from Periscope. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dreamer, you're right, and that's the problem, right? I'm with you. I get where the anger is coming from, but this reaction creates more violence, as you said, and it also creates more hostility and more division and more tension, right? So now you have people going that you almost lose sympathy for your cause because people feel like, well, now you're just attacking other innocent people, right? How does that benefit? How does that help anybody? So it creates more violence and it also creates more distrust and more sense of like, this isn't, you're angry about that, but you're taking it on me and my store and my community. I didn't do it.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I have like a few periscopers that are saying the opposite. For example, peaceful protests just get ignored. So people just use grieving as an excuse to lash out because if they did anything peacefully, nothing would happen. Right. So 3 people just said they think violence is the only way to make their point all on Periscope. Thank you.
Okay. So Bruce, let me pick that up for a second because I think that's a really important point. And I said a few minutes ago, I get where that instinct could come from. So let's say you feel like violence is the only way to get noticed. First of all, that's sad if that's true. And I'm not saying I get it. Violence gets noticed, no question. Most revolutions have been violent. Most upheavals are violent. The problem is if the violence you're doing is random, is attacking your own community, looting your stores, breaking in, it gets noticed. It's like a social media post. It's like doing, something really inappropriate that everybody notices, but it doesn't win you sympathy. I'm sorry, it doesn't, because you're just attacking the wrong thing. You're attacking your own community. So, directed violence, and I'm not encouraging it, but I get why people think violence will get attention. And maybe we need to start getting creative and find other ways to get attention from the violence, because I don't know that this is going to push the ball farther ahead or if it's just going to create a deeper lockdown and division. Not an easy answer.
Thank you, and good question to those three that were having their own little mini conversation there.
And you guys with that mini conversation, keep weighing in on it. Because again, I get why you think violence gets attention, but how does this violence help that cause? Because
Right.
again, you're attacking the wrong people.
So that was for Seaweed 222 and Mill Consciousness. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
Bruce Roker says the reason is right, but the messaging is wrong. And then IE Gamer says, I believe in doing this peacefully. But you know what? A lot of people try to do that too, and maybe they felt like they had to escalate things because they weren't being heard. I could see how maybe if it was more violent, you would get more headlines. Maybe that's why they're doing this, to get more attention, just because they think, by default, being peaceful doesn't do much.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is you may get more headlines. But again, if the headlines you're getting are that a bunch of people are rioting and looting stores in their community, the problem with looting is it's not on, whoever said it's not on message. Yeah, it's not on message. You saw the guy who had his windows of his building busted in as we were walking saying, I support the cause, but this isn't the answer. This is the wrong message. It's like you're destroying other innocent people's things who are part of your community, have nothing to do with it. You're stealing stuff out of stores. That's not sending a message about racial injustice. It's not sending a message to the cops. It's just sending a message of anarchy. And that doesn't help the cause.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on down. So we had two other people that said yes, they are afraid, and we have four who say no, they're not afraid.
Okay, that's our mini poll.
All right. Let's see. Do you think the riots can reach the destruction like it was in '94 from Milo on Periscope?
Yeah, I think they can, but I don't think they will, because I think the police have a different version of response now, and I think you're seeing that in LA. They're not going to let that happen. They've come up with ways to tamper it down, and that's part of the problem. The truth of the matter is, everybody, a massive peaceful protest, massive. You see it in other countries. You saw it in Hong Kong, and then they
He meant
brought in
1992. Sorry.
Well, yeah, but either way, I get it. The '92 riots, right? And they were. I was in DC, and we had those riots. We had riots too around that time. But in Upper Northwest, and I walked into the middle of them. But here's the thing: massive protests, that are peaceful. They get attention, and they're hard to stop because they can't come in and arrest you for massive public peaceful protests, and you can fill up entire areas with people. That has an impact that causes change and keeps attention on. Bursts of this kind of violence get shut down, and they just shut it down and they trap it down, and then you can be violent a little longer, and they move to the next level and put in curfews. So it's not a very good long-term strategy to use the violence, in my view.
There you go. Rob, so I got an update from Sean. He says he's on Hill and First. Where are you located again?
I am at Hill and Temple, so he's got to come back. He's almost there. Temple's like a block up from Hill. Temple's another block up from First. So Sean, I'm right above Temple and Hill. So if you're walking uphill and you pass First, you keep going and you'll pass Temple next, and then I'm up in the middle of the freeway bridge. I'm above the freeway on Hill Street.
Right. So Sean, you're gonna pass the park on Hill Street to get to Rob.
No. Oh, maybe. I shouldn't be getting directions.
He's on Hill and First, and then you're on Hill and Temple. He's got to pass through the park or pass over it. Okay. Let's see. We have questions
Keeping it
coming in.
live, keeping it real. And you guys, if you're still watching, you get to be part of the jumping the car experience, which will be fun because I'm gonna have Sean push me down the hill and we're gonna pop start this baby. Come on, that's revolutionary style.
All during a live stream. There you go.
Yeah. And again, Bruce, tell people because listen, I'm not. I want more. I want a bigger community. I want more viewers. I want more interaction. I want a people's network. I want a people's information network. So seriously, take a second. Follow us at Rob Nelson Live. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you want. Follow at Rob Nelson Live. Take 5 seconds. Share this with your friends. I'm serious. Share it with people and ask them to be part of it. We collectively can become a big voice, but we got to share it. So get people, and I will take all questions. I'll go forever. So, follow at Rob Nelson Live. Watch our show on Wednesday and Friday. It's live. Interact in it, but please, seriously, follow and share it. Share it with other people. Be like, watch this. This is the way information should be being done. This is the real news. And we're all part of that real news network. And if we kept doing this, we could be doing this all over the country with people having their feeds coming in, and we'd be bigger than CNN. So help make us big. Help make this our information network. Help make this our content, not the content they want us to have. All right, folks, Sean has just arrived. So Bruce, keep us going. We're gonna make this real right now.
You got it.
Okay,
All right.
jumping out. The
You got it.
interactive social network. Hey, Sean. Good man. So you got cables?
Yeah, it's a
Oh
jumper.
my God! All right, because I was gonna say we could push it down a hill.
All right, real quick. Bruce Roker says, "Good job for not totally butchering my name, Mr. Roker. You were very welcome." And Mama Bear says, "Fully scared." Well, you know what? As long as you keep sharing the information out with people, let them come to their own conclusion. Just share the data. That's probably the best thing that we could do right now. There you
This is
go.
the way to do it. All real. Hey, everybody! I want to give a shout out. Sean's here.
Let's put them on camera
Sean's
too.
here.
Hey, everybody.
So Sean, I don't know Sean, as you guys know if you've been watching. Sean walked up from his place in LA with a little jumper cable, a little battery jumper cable, and he's going to jump my car, which I killed running the battery to keep my charge going for my stream. If that's not community, everybody, what is? If that's not community, we're live streaming. We're in the middle. We're right up next to the action, to the riots, to the violence, and I need a jump to keep this going. And Sean comes and shows up, walks up a street. That's community, everybody. That's what this is about. It's creating community. It's creating our community. What's that?
Not supposed to be there? Looks like you got some kind of diode there. That's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
screwdriver.
Mechanic left a tool in there. All right, keep going, Bruce. What do we got?
Sure. So Bruce Illist says that this reaction is the only way to get some people's attention, and that's the problem. And I have to agree,
right?
and I see what you're saying with Mill Conscious.
Okay.
Change doesn't happen
Sean
without
knows
some
cars.
level of discomfort. I have to agree with you there. Okay, moving on down Periscope. Chizuda, do you think there are paid protesters in Group
Absolutely.
Group LA tonight?
Absolutely. I think every one of these cities has had paid protesters. Now, I don't know if it's George Soros, if it's Antifa. Every one of these cities has had seated in protesters, paid, and anarchists like the Antifa people. It's happened everywhere. And it's too bad, because they trigger the worst part.
Gasterific Muncher says it turned from protest into looting. I think that's pretty much the same nationwide, and I have to agree with you there. I think that's how they know that they can get their message heard and across once they see that, the target that they just destroyed in Minneapolis, will get on the news. That means their message is going to be heard. So I have to agree with you there.
Try it again.
Keep going, Bruce. I'm trying to get the car started.
You got it. All right. So thank you for tuning in from Australia. So we have a Michael Masters from here in Australia. We had our police explicitly tell us to take lenient approaches to offenders during the lockdowns.
So say that again.
Yeah. So Michael Masters from here in Australia, we were told by our police explicitly to take lenient approaches to offenders during the lockdowns.
Meaning to criminal offenders?
He didn't specify. It's either that or how you. I'm going to guess it's how you approach people, how they're going to be lashing out in the community. That's what I'm going to take it as.
Right. Well, oops, just went away. Bruce?
Yeah, you're here.
I can't see myself, but yeah, okay. Well, I guess people are afraid of triggering. They're afraid of triggering more violence. They're afraid of triggering, I get it, Try now. Okay. Sorry, we're multitasking here. Jump in a car.
Yep.
Keep going, Bruce. Keep going without me.
Sure. So,
well,
milliconsciousness.
You want to push start? Sure.
So, milliconsciousness asks on Periscope, then why are cops so violent with us? The same reason.
How can my battery be so dead?
Right?
All right, moving on down.
Dreamer
says peaceful protests are getting ignored, and that's a huge problem, but not for the store's fault who are getting attacked. And that's true. It's not, honestly, it's if you're an owner of a retail store, or in the case that we had earlier, which looked like to be a resident of an apartment complex, it's not their fault, right? So it doesn't make sense to lash out on them who are your fellow community members. If they're your fellow job or they're your fellow shop owners, right? Or your fellow apartment rentees just like you. It doesn't make sense destroying their homes because that could be your home also.
Yeah, right? It's weird. I don't know how it died so fast.
All right. Bruce Roker says there's a skirmish line in front of the Walgreens.
Right? That should do it. It should pop start.
Thank you. Keep us updated, Bruce. Appreciate that. Let's see. Moving on down. Mama Bear says racist and violence is about hate, but violence is anger, and all anger is bad. And it's healthy to be afraid of disgust. That's what kills. Thank you for tuning in, Mama Bear. All right, so Cali Plug,
put it on
or the ones that have come from America and Europe have no relation. Shake my head. Wow, everyone. Yeah, I was just gonna say Mama Bear has a lot of typos going on for you. That's pretty much with everybody. Okay. Millie Consciousness from Periscope. I have a question for you. Why are the police so violent with us? I believe to get our attention.
Heck, I'm going to be able to do it before we get to Hill.
Yes. I think Rob said it best. It's that shock tactic. It's to get your attention and for you to respect them as they're approaching you. That way, when they do try to communicate with you something verbally, you do have that slight intimidation factor, which just makes sense. Exactly, to comply.
Let's get to the Hill.
But you won't comply if you don't respect them, if you don't fear them to a certain degree. Yeah. Okay, Sean Robertson, thank you for tuning in. It seems from my armchair computer screen point of view that a lot of the smashy is opportunistic while the people are occupied and spread too thin. You know what? I will agree with that to a certain extent, and it depends on the city. In the case of Los Angeles, you saw waves and waves of the police. I'll give you a perfect example. Turn on to KTLA on Instagram. You'll see how you had waves of police fighting with like waves of citizens. And then you saw citizens trying to defend another citizen from getting attacked from police officers. It's on Instagram. I'll see if I can pull it up when Rob comes back. Okay, so in the process, Rob is getting his car jumped. Let's go ahead and move on down. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to catch up here. Okay, Sean, thank you for helping out Rob, too, by the way. Okay, so Electro Loco 76. Civil disturbance and chaos will bring change, and up to the line where it crosses into physical violence. And that's sad but true, and it's unfortunate, but that's what's happening. Rob, are you back?
I'm here. We just got her jumped.
Good. All right, I'm going to keep going.
Hold on.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yep.
Do you need a ride?
Right, Mama Bear, how long can we keep putting flowers in their gun barrels? You know what? It would be beautiful to see that again. It's been a long time since we've seen something like that. We're too fed up for peace anymore. People want to fight. From Millie Consciousness on Periscope. I have to agree with you on that. Millie consciousness. And I'm going to say that's because COVID made everyone get, and, Rob and I have been talking about this for the past couple months. The coronavirus has kept people so wound up, so uptight that they were just looking for a reason to just almost explode, just lash out. So, yeah, Millie consciousness, we totally agree with you there.
Hey, Bruce.
Talk to me, Rob.
Bruce?
You're back. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back. So I just want to do a shout out to Sean, and I want to say, thanks for getting me started. And again, for those of you just joining, our journey started in front of this whole thing with the police and getting into the middle of it. I ran out of power on my phone, so I put it in my car, but it was off. I ran out of battery power. Sean lives in LA, never met him before. He made his way up. We were trying to jumpstart it. We pushed it, didn't have enough body strength. A random guy in the street ran over. 3 of us shoved it, jump-started my car, pushing it down a hill, pop starting. It's a stick shift. How awesome is that in the middle of a live stream about such a big issue? The community comes all the way around like that. And isn't that what community is about? And isn't that the opposite of going in and lashing out at your community? Even justifiably angry, rage at the horrific racial injustice that happened in Minneapolis, and it keeps happening. But to attack your community versus this, which was a community coming together. And I love that.
Are you okay?
I'm good.
Oh, okay, I thought you stalled out again.
No, I'm just going to sit here with the engine on so I have battery power. Thank you, Sean. Just talking about you. So isn't that an awesome story? Isn't that awesome kind of community? Like, isn't that what we're supposed to be? And guys, we can form a community, a global community of like-minded people who are looking for answers. We don't have to all be on the same side issue-wise. We can have the left, the right. So much everybody has been dividing us, right? I mean, people like unfriending friends and family because they have different political views. Just because people don't have your views doesn't mean you can't be part of a shared community, a part of learning, a part of growing, a part of communicating and finding common ground. That's what we should be. That's what we can be. So it doesn't matter what your politics are. We're all one giant humanity. We're one human race. And we're all, as what that cop said to me, we're all Americans. Now, if you're not in the U.S., you're not, then we're all part of Earth. But that's, to me, what this can be. And that's what it should be. And tonight's been an awesome example of that. And I want to thank every single person who's been watching and sharing. And I'm serious. Share this stream. Share this feed. Follow us at Rob Nelson Live on any socials. Every Wednesday and Friday at 7. Get in on our live stream with us. I want to build this, and I want you to build it with me, everybody. All right, that's my little speech.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. All right, so we have Bruce Illist from Periscope. I'll join you as soon as you make it to the scene. Bruce, you missed it. Rob was interviewing, several different groups of cops and having just police cars drive by him, and even approached, a police officer that was on a motorcycle. So he was literally right there in Ground Central.
So wait, what's he saying? He's saying he wants us to be at the scene?
Yeah, he said, I'll join you guys as soon as you make it to the scene. So he's only an hour.
You missed it.
Yeah, he's only 2 hours too late.
You're 2 hours too late. At the scene, we were as close as you could get, everybody. We were as close as you could get to this thing. We were literally a block from the heart of it. And I made every inroad I could. I talked my way through the cops and up to them to the final point where they were like, you are not getting any closer. We had hundreds of squad cars flying around us 10 feet away. As Bruce said, I was up in their faces talking to them. We were as close as you could get to the action without literally being in the middle and getting arrested, shot, or being a cop.
Rob, I thought that was just crazy that you approached the police officer when he was on his cycle right before he took off.
Yeah. Hey, Bruce, when we're talking together, put us on the split screen so we can see each other.
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
I'm just saying, why not? Just for whatever,
Sure.
We got the little on-air sign behind us, Batman and Robin, but I'm Batman, you're Robin, even though I'm Rob, you're Bruce, whatever. We got more questions, Bruce, or are we getting near wrapping up?
No, we got a lot more coming in. So now people are talking about, they believe absolutely in paid protesters and even undercover cops going on.
Okay, so listen, I'm losing on this poll. So here's what I would say. Paid protesters for sure. We know there have been paid protesters in every one of these things. What I would say about the undercover cops is, why? You just got to give me a reason why. What's the incentive for cops to go in and stir this up? It just triggers violence against them. It just triggers, you know, I mean, again, why if you're the cops do you want to do it? Or is it you're saying the government wants them to do it, so they're told to do it and they do? I'm just not so sold on the undercover cops trying to do it. Just again, because I think self-interest. What do you get out of it? What do you get out of it? Having more people, not just tonight, but in general, want to shoot you, want to come at you. Like your job's already risky enough. You saw the number of cops who were saying to me, kind of like, it's tough to be a cop right now. I don't know. You saw their faces. Right. I certainly saw them.
Yeah.
You know. All right. Next question. Let's go faster. Let's
sure.
do this for another 15 minutes or so, and then we'll let everybody go. And you all got to promise to come back next week.
Absolutely.
Way, you guys gonna promise me that you're gonna come back? I'm serious. I never do this. I never say follow us. I never say watch us. So I'm doing it a lot because I'm serious. I want to build a community. So please follow and come back and watch us. Just watch our show on Wednesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. Pacific time at Rob Nelson Live, Twitter, YouTube, Periscope. Bruce will put all the things up on the screen. Put them up big, Bruce. Show them our handles. Put it all on the screen and share this. If we do this, we create a community of this kind of thing. We're the People's Network. Our information, my information, your information, all sharing, bringing it across and cutting through the mainstream news media from left and right and being a real voice of the people.
There you go. Thanks, Rob. All right.
Yeah, so Bruce, put our handles up big so people can see them.
I'll put it up here. I got a question coming up right now, and this is a good one. So Mr. TT Toad from YouTube, thank you for tuning in. He says the president needs to pass laws that protects minorities from this nonsense police brutality.
Okay. And what I would say is, yes. Well, first of all, the problem here is, and I'm not disagreeing with you, the president can't really pass laws that will do that. I mean, first of all, you know, Congress has to legislate it. The president signs it into law. Together, they could do it. There are laws, you know, right now they're investigating what happened in Minneapolis as a hate crime because that's a law of the federal government. So just not to make this too much of a civics lesson, but the laws are passed by the states. So that's a state crime. When a cop does that to someone, it's a state crime. The reason the federal government can come in is because they have laws that allow them to bring it as a federal hate crime, for example. So I think there's a limited amount the federal government can do legislatively and legally because crime is managed by the states. So that's why they bring the feds in and call it a federal offense, like a hate crime type act. But what I think could happen is I think the president, and this is where I will fault Donald Trump, he needs to stop being so sort of equivocal on this. You can defend cops and you can say, I believe cops are for the most part good, but you have to be an outspoken advocate of saying this cannot be allowed to happen. And we have to collectively, all of us, step up to it, you know? And by the way, there's a lot of white people who think they're not racist who are. You know, the whole thing in New York with the guy walking through Central Park, and I think it was Christian Connor's his name, right? And the woman, Amy Connor, I think they both had the same last name. So,
right.
She's white, he's black. And, you know, he's a bird watcher. He went to Harvard. He's doing his thing. And, you know, their dog's off a leash in a bird thing. And you're supposed to have the dogs on a leash. He tells her, and she calls the cops, says, I'm going to call the cops. She does, and says, I'm going to say an African-American man is threatening my life. The guy wasn't threatening her at all. He wasn't even trying to threaten her. Wasn't even pretending to threaten her. That kind of racism, that kind of white, because she's a white liberal. That kind of white liberal racism is there too. And I think we've got to have our leaders be a lot more proactive in addressing that in an unequivocal way, and not in a white people are bad way, and not in a left versus right way, but in a, hey, everybody, we all have to step up to the plate on this. And black people are going to have to find common ground with white people on it too, because I've said it before, black people are just as racist as white people. You know, white cops may exercise that prejudice on black people more often, but don't kid yourself. Black people are prejudiced too, right? I mean, a lot of it, you know, there's a lot of white hatred out there. I think all people become tribal and prejudiced. So yes, but I don't think there's a lot the president can actually do legislatively.
Thank you for that, Mr. TT.
I know I'm giving some long answers here.
No, that's okay. That's okay. So moving on down, and we got a lot of questions, so I'm going to try to shotgun as many as I can here.
Shotgun, 10 seconds an answer.
Yeah. Not to mention that these businesses have closed for months and now they're getting burned down. That's kind of crazy. I totally agree with you there.
Yep.
For example, Dreamer on Periscope, they broke into the Louis Vuitton store. What was the reason for that? I totally agree.
Yep. Next question.
What type of event do you think will signal it's time to stop this unrest? From Chizuda on Periscope.
I don't think an event will trigger an answer to that, to be honest. I think enough of this happens and we're going to go spiraling farther down. And to be honest, that event will be people like us, enough of a larger voice of a larger community trying to find common ground is the only way this stops. Something that's not the one side or the other. It's a coming together for a common ground of the people, voice of the people. That's the event.
Thank you, Chizuda, for that. Moving on down. So this is a continuation. Millie Conscious and Dreamer saying that understandable that peaceful protests are not working, but we're literally ruining our city. And Millie Conscious says, I totally support the protesters. I'd be there peacefully. Thank you for that.
Yep, both. Yes, both great comments. Yes. There's nothing wrong with protesting. It's just keep the message right. Attacking your own community and vandalizing it and looting it doesn't help your message, doesn't win. It's a lose-lose.
Yep, I totally agree. Moving on down, the Exciter says it seems fishy of all the simultaneous violence. Paid actors, creepy. I'm not going to say it's creepy. I mean, to me, it just makes sense. And this isn't the first time that we see it, guys. And I'll use Facebook Live coming out in 2015, 2016 as an example before the elections. We had a dozen riots going on at the time, when people were having, concerns about race then too. This isn't the first time that's happened.
Right.
All right, moving on down. So IE Gamer says, can you respond to my question? I'm scrolling and I don't see it, so please put it back up, and we'll answer your question, IE Gamer.
All right, let's take 10 more of these, Bruce, and then we're gonna wrap it, guys.
Sure. Question from Bruce Illis on Periscope. Wouldn't it be funny if, because of all this, we discover tear gas was actually curing COVID-19?
That is an awesome comment, right? Tear gas cured it. Listen, I smoke cigarettes, not a good thing, but whatever. Nicotine, they think, fends it off. So if tear gas cured it, man, then everyone would be rioting, tear gas us all, and we all be fine. Yep, that's a great comment.
All right, moving on down to the next one. So we have Badger again on Periscope. Why are we reopened? Were peaceful protesters shamed and demonized while the media defends the looters and the riots?
Yeah, well, I think that's an interesting thing. And look, I'm not going to defend it. I've said before, it's a little odd that, you don't hear a lot of condemning of the protesters breaking out against the social distancing stuff and all that, but you heard all kinds of criticism of people going to the beach on Memorial Day. People going out to enjoy the summer and finally get out, that's bad. And people going out to loot and riot, that's not good that they're looting and riot, but no real criticism of their mass gathering. It's just hypocrisy, folks. It's that simple. The media is hypocritical. Don't think otherwise. And left and right, it's all a battle of a divisive battle and a lot of hypocrisy. We got to be the new media. Okay, next question.
Sure. So these are going to be 10-second questions for you, Rob. I got two good ones. Okay, so Bruce Illist asks, okay, Rob, let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop the nonsense. Biden, Trump, or neither, who gets your vote?
Not Biden. Ugh. At this point, neither. Neither at this point. And neither, by the way, is an okay choice, folks. You don't have to pick the lesser of two evils. You can say, I don't like any of them, because then whoever wins doesn't have enough votes to claim that they really have a majority of us.
Okay,
vote for myself.
Would it be weird if just because you said that we had a lot of people writing in your name on the ballots?
Hey, Rob Nelson for president. I'm available. I do a good job. All right, next question.
I'll put that up as a hashtag later. Okay, so Milo says on Periscope, do you think the CNN Omar Jimenez arrest was staged?
Wow. You know what? I didn't think of that until now. Those of you who don't know, it was a CNN reporter who was arrested. Don't know the answer to that, but this was one I'm going, why would they arrest a reporter? So maybe CNN staged a lot of other things. I'm almost going to buy that conspiracy theory. I might be buying on that one. Next question.
Sure. So Mama Bear, and this is more of a comment giving you some praise. Brilliant and unbiased reporting the way it should be. I've been saying that for the longest time. We need to bring that back. Thank you, Rob, for being that beacon of hope in journalism.
Thanks. I appreciate it. All right, let's do two more. Then we're going to wrap this up, guys. We'll do this again.
Got it. Okay. Let's see if I can find another question. All right. So this is more of an observation. Bruce Illist says that cops infiltrate and turn protests violent to give the police an excuse to use force to break up those riots or those protests.
Okay, I get that, and we were talking about that, and I get it. What I would say to that is, but think again. Think of the long-term consequence. You get to use force to break it up, but you then have a target on your back. And I think most cops, and I know cops, they don't like feeling like, they don't like feeling like I'm not sure I'm coming home from work today because I might be dead. So that's why I don't buy that it benefits them to make people like want to shoot them, even though they can shoot in the short run. Okay, one more. What do we got? And then I'll do a wrap
Sure.
up.
Yeah, so a lot of people were saying that CNN arrest was crazy and they couldn't believe that. Bruce Ellis says, I'm following. Thank you very much, guys. So people were also asking, is the Sexting podcast coming back?
No. So great question. Appreciate those of you coming over from Sexting. My partner on that show, Chanel Preston, that's her poor name. Stopped, it's a great friend of mine. And she stepped out of the business. Is no longer doing it. And we've talked about whether we would continue doing it. And she just kind of wanted to take a step back from things. So at the moment, Sextink is not coming back. I wouldn't say it's never coming back. And I'll bring it up with her again. And maybe I'll have her come on Rob Nelson Live. I think she would do that and
I
come
was
on as
just
a
thinking the
guest.
same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So I'll talk to her about it. Appreciate it. But you know what? If you were a Sexting person watching, Sexting was a podcast live stream I did with porn star Chanel Preston. And it wasn't all about how to have sex. It was about sex in America, society, politics, culture. A lot of the same stuff I talked about on Rob Nelson Live, just with an angle looking at the sex around it, how sex factored into it. Really provocative, sex for the mind. But if you're a Sexting follower, watch this. Stick with Rob Nelson Live, and we're gonna grow it. All right. One more.
All right, so we got two agree disagrees. So Mama Bear, let me get her question up on the screen. So Mama Bear says, what I see is a whole nation under stress from the coronavirus. They feel bullied by authority in all directions. Then to be under lockdown and then have police brutality and a murder pushed it to this. Rob, do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree. I'm buying that. Okay, one more.
Sure. Michael Masters, and then we're calling it. Thank you very much. Thoughts on the protesters blocking the highway from IE Gamer? I had to put him up because I told him I would put it up earlier.
I don't know which highway they were blocking, but I think blocking a highway is fine. I think that's better than violence, and it gets people's attention. All right, you guys, listen, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody who's still watching, everybody who was watching. Again, those of you still out there, I'm going to ask you again, follow us at Rob Nelson Live on all our social platforms. We do the stream live at 6 p.m. Pacific time Wednesdays and 6 p.m. Pacific time Fridays. Please check it out. Please follow it. Please share this. Our goal is to create a truly different kind of information network, a different kind of information, truth, cutting through it, not one side or the other side, honest, unbiased, from the real perspective of what's happening and real people, and getting us all to think a little more. Tonight has been a crazy night, a crazy adventure. And, all I can say is our wrap to what we saw is, violence leads to more violence, leads to more violence. Crackdowns and over authority lead to more resentment, more, compression, and ultimately to more explosions. One side against the other side leads to more polarization and more conflict. We've got to start finding middle grounds. This should be a wake-up call to us across the country right now that we are doing things wrong, and we need to figure out a better way. And we need better people to lead us to do that on both sides of the political aisle. I'm Rob Nelson. This is Rob Nelson Live.